Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to something a little bit different. Welcome back to our very first broadcast, not from Australia, but from Polonia, from Poland instead. Welcome. Hope everyone has been having a great time, a great week, and I made it. We made it. We made it all the way to Poland. For those that maybe were unaware, we have been traveling, and the reason why I wasn't able to cast this event live is because it was actually occurring as we were traveling. So ESL Open Cupn Americas occurred, I want to say 2 days ago, around 48 hours ago. So these games are not live. They're not going to be live. They're going to be broadcasted via replays instead. And I have to catch up. I can't go a week without catching up with ESL Americas or Asia. And we may even try and dabble in some ESL Open Cup Europe as well, since now I'm in a proper time zone for that. I'm in a decent time zone for EU. I'm also, it's a little bit daunting, but I believe KSL is now at an awful time for us. KSL is, oh, it's at like 4 a.m. It's 4 a.m. So that's going to be interesting to try to stay awake and cover that. But regardless, yeah, good to be back. Hope everyone has been enjoying themselves. Things may be a little bit different. The big thing is, for now, we're not using cams. So, for now, no cameras. We'll try to get that going at some point in the coming days. Likewise, my voice may sound a little bit different as well. If you have any feedback, give so then we can adjust some audio settings. We can work on some things and make sure that everything is as ideal as possible. So yeah, hopefully everything stays together. The stream was going down earlier, but everything should be stable from here on forward. So look forward to the upcoming games. As a reminder, these events were actually live a couple of days ago. We're going to be going over those replays now because we weren't able to cover them live at the time, so we are playing catch up. Likewise, we may delve into some Europe casts later, some ESL Open Cup Europe. Otherwise, all good. Streaming while OS, what a boss. Always. Always. The show must go on. The show must go on. Thankfully, casts are going to be easing up a little bit. So we just wrapped up with Masters Coliseum. Fun fact, we just wrapped up with all of Masters Coliseum. That was a month-long broadcast. And now, in the absence of Masters Coliseum, with IEM Katowice around the corner, a lot of events are kind of like easing up. And yeah, as a result, you know, we can take things. I can chill out a little bit here, especially now that I'm, you know, in Poland. And I'm definitely looking forward to IEM Katowice around the corner, which is a week from now, which is a week from today. So keep an eye out for that. I won't be casting the events, but I'll be there in person. We'll be enjoying it from afar, from the crowd. And if anyone in the chat is going to be at IEM, let us know. Let us know, and we can maybe catch up. We can hang out. We can, yeah, enjoy the event together. Meanwhile, we're going to be diving into our first series. You can see it here on screen. Up first, we have Beyond versus Parting. It's going to be a TVP, the return of Parting once again, and this is a rematch, by the way. For those that are unawares, Parting has returned to the game of StarCraft, I believe, for the past month or so. He has been competing, and he has had some interesting results. A bit of a mixed bag overall, but the big one is that last week in ESL Open Cupn Americas in 211, Parting did actually beat Beyond. And it was a 2-0. It was a 2-0 as well. We didn't get to cast it, so I'm looking forward to covering the rematch here. Now, Parting still ended up losing in the next round to Clem, but, I mean, it's Clem. Clem, he's one of the best Terran players in the world right now. But again, I missed out on Parting versus Beyond, so I'm really curious to see how they face off here and now, and if Parting can replicate that success, or if it was a one-off thing, and if Beyond is now going to be taking Parting a little bit more seriously instead. That is what I'm curious about, but here we go. We're going to be getting into game number 1. It's going to be on Hecate. Oh my god, that's premature. Oh, hold on, I need to fix that. Okay, but here we go. We're loading into our first series of the night. We're going to be going through a couple of matches from the round of 16 into the round of 8 before we cover the semifinals and then the grand finals at the end. And here we go. Spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Hecate, we have the South Korean Terran player, the blue Terran representing Shopify Rebellion. It is Beyond. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the returning ex-military Protoss, the red Protoss player, representing himself, currently teamless. It is Party. When it comes to audio levels, let us know if the microphone should be a little bit louder, or if maybe we should be bumping up or bumping down the fanfare as well. Let us know. Again, I am on my laptop. For those, I should have said this earlier. I'm on my laptop instead of my, of course, regular home PC setup. So settings are a little bit different in general, and yeah, hope everything looks good getting into this. And if it doesn't, we can of course refine and you know, clean things up for later broadcasts. Still plan on going live as often as possible on almost a daily basis here on the CranKy Ducklings. We'll do our best. We'll do our best. As we're getting into our openers here, we do have Bjorn getting across the map. It is going to be an economic opener, very economic. A gate expand out of Harding. Very greedy build here. So typically we'd go for a gate cyber expand. Fun fact, this SCV was designed to eBay block. We were supposed to be eBay blocking here at the natural base. We get here, there's already a base thrown down, and now it's on now it's on Bjorn to punish this. It is going for a Rax into a factory, into a proxy across the map. We are poised for a proxy starport. Factory is on the way, and this is a good way to try to punish the greed here of Parting, to try to get into something like Hellion drops and Hellion harass. It is something that Bjorn can go for, and yeah, we'll see if he does end up committing to that. The other thing this could be is we could be going into Reactor Hellion into Liberator instead. We could be seeing a Liberator going into the main base, Hellions towards the natural, and still, regardless, looking for some economic damage here. Meanwhile, Parting yet to throw down his tank. We'll still figure out what direction he wants to go in. We'll still figure out if he wants to go into Phoenixes or Blink Stalkers. I imagine because it's Parting and he has an aggressive reputation, it's gonna be Blink Stalkers, but we'll see. We'll see if he goes for the Twilight Council. Meanwhile, factory is done. Show us that starport as the proxy is upon us, and there it is. Starport is on the way. As I mentioned, this should either be a proxy medevac to go for a Hellion drop, or be a proxy liberator and go for like a multi-pronged aggression, and both kind of units coming into harass at the same time. Meanwhile, Party went for a Zealot first. Not going to be able to make full use of it. Yeah, we're going to shut it down. Zealot is going to be forced back at depth as well. We are here to deny any kind of low ground expand. We have already seen the factory is done. We're going to be dipping in even further, and we do barely catch a glimpse here of the CC. So good scouting here from Parting. He does confirm that it's not a one base all in. Behind this, it is a Twilight Council opener. It is going to be Blink Stalkers from Parting. For the time being, only 2 gateways. This can go into 3 gates, for example. This could go into 3-gate Blink Stalker, could be into 4, or could just be 2-gate Blink into a 3rd base. There's different kind of forms of aggression available here to Parting, or forms of greedy. Meanwhile, Bjorn, medevac drop. It is going to be a Hellion drop into the main base. We are looking for that economic damage. Again, we need to punish the greed of Parting. We'll see if we can. It isn't just that Parting opened up economically, it's also the fact that Bjorn delayed his CC in favor of this build. So Bjorn, he's putting himself behind in a way to get damage done. And here we go, the Hellion drop goes straight for the main. We're going straight for the main base. Meanwhile, in said main, do you have a spotted pylon? Parting, he has a little bit of time to react here, and he does pull away. Boys, they're bunching up. There's only one Stalker. There's only one Stalker to defend, and a lot of probes are getting roasted. 7 workers go down. 11 probes go down. Again, it takes 3 shots to one-shot a worker, and there's plenty to pull that off. We're not done. We drop here towards that natural base. Boys are pulled once again. So much lost mine time. 12 dead workers and lost mine time in both bases as well. Good damage, and what's scary here is that we're not done. The Hellions are still alive. We can go back in for another drop. That's exactly what Bjorn does, and Parting is late to react. Very late reaction here. More workers going to be falling. It was 12, and now we're going up to 50. Oh my god, we're not done! As finally we're going to be cleaning this up. The Hellions, one of them does actually be dropped here towards the natural base. Parting regains control of his main base, but looking at the units tab here, 18 dead workers. For 3 Hellions behind this, Bjorn, he's happily getting into his 2-base setup. We are floating that starport back home. It's going to be a 2-1-1 setup here. Tank production has commenced. The tanks are so important here for Bjorn. Again, Parting is forced into reaction. He's forced into a counterattack. We are sending out whatever we can. As we can see, there's not much. There's a handful of Stalkers. There's a handful of units on the ground. And as the tank count gets higher, Bjorn is safer and safer. So far, he has dealt critical damage, and there's no way to punish him. There is no way to punish him with what we have. We have a couple of units being fanned out. Prism is on the way. How many gateways do we have to work with? We have 3. 3 gates in total. This is not enough to go for a big counterattack. It's enough to apply pressure, but not the pressure that Parting needs. As Parting is coming across a couple of buildings here and there, he gets some value for his army, which is good. But Parting is still behind. And beyond, what's scary here is that he's building up on 2 bases. He throws down the 3rd Rax. He's going for a big tank timing. The Observer does get spotted, does get shut down. Stim is about to finish, and soon we will push. Parting behind this, still recovering, still resaturating, still behind in probes, despite all the resaturation that he's been trying to conduct. On 2 bases, he's going to delay his 30 even further. He takes up towards Templar Archives. This can help. Storm is definitely a way to come back, both defending against armies and even harassing against mineral lines. There's a lot of potential with High Templar, with Storm, but we need time to get there. Meanwhile, Prism Drop going to be threatening that main. Beyond, he is in position. And we're going to be... Oh my god, no! We're going to be able to shut down the Prism. And yeah, that's it. That's going to be game. That was maybe like the only chance that Parting would have at coming back is to harass. And we had already lost so much. To lose the Prism as well, that was the cherry on top. And GG, well played. Ooh, this will go the way of Beyond. At least game 1. Game number 1. Ooh, GG here. And there wasn't really much to be had in that game, to be honest. Like, the Hellion drop did kind of seal the deal for Bjorn. He was able to shut him down. Had to turn you up, but it's all equal. Oh. Okay. May have to turn myself up. Just a little bit. It's okay. Beautiful. So, with that, game 1 is in the books. Again, there wasn't really too much to game 1. Bjorn, he did win the game with his Hellion drop. So, to be fair, big reasons to why it dealt so much damage. If you remember, Parting was being greedy. That's why Bjorn went for the proxy starport, because Parting had gone for such a greedy opener that Bjorn felt necessary to punish, felt necessary to try to be in the face of Parting. And with that, he found a lot of success. Did find a lot of success in the end, and now we find ourselves in game number 2 to see if we can force the ace match. Can Parting bring this back, or will this be a 2-0 and will Bjorn get his revenge? We shall see. As spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Oceanborn, we have the South Korean Terran player leading the series 1-0, representing Shopify Rebellion. It is Bjorn. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Protoss player, the Red Protoss, currently teamless, but again, he's been back for less than a month, I want to say. Just under a month, but he still achieves so much. Can he fight back? Can he force the ace match? It is Party. Here we go. So thanks for the feedback. I did put my microphone up a little bit. I bumped it up a little bit, and hopefully it is solid from there. For now, though, hello, Mr. Bjorn. Hello, SCV. What are we planning here? As we do have 1 Rax back at home, and we have 1 Rax across the map as well. So Bjorn is going to be opening up with a 2 Rax. It is a variation on 2 Rax. This isn't as aggressive as Proxy 2 Rax, for example, but this can still escalate out of control. And I'm concerned, because Parting is going for another gate expand. Very greedy build here. 2 games in a row. It's a gate expand before the Cybercore, and Bjorn, of course, is looking to try to punish this. Now, because the Cybercore is late, that means the Adept is going to be delayed. It means the Stalker is going to be delayed. It means that these Reapers are going to get a lot done. Now, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm getting ahead of myself because that's actually a Marine. We have a Marine first here across the map. I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be a Reaper proxied. No! Oh my god! Okay! Instead of going for proxy Reapers, we are massing Marines and we're going for proxy Marauder, it looks like. This should be concussive shell. That's what the gases are for. This is suddenly much more committed. We have an SCV to throw down a bunker as well. This is unscattered. Now, Parting, it's the same build as game 1 for Parting. Where he goes Zealot first, he's going to be scouting. He's going to be checking the edges of the map, but he barely does miss the proxy. There are the Marauders that we spoke about, and Parting is going to be in a lot of trouble, especially if he cuts more corners. Right now, there's no safety shield battery, for example. There's no reason to throw it down, but this Zealot Scout needs to tell him how much danger he's in, as Marines are already amassing, and we're pushing out. Now, thankfully, this Zealot is going to confirm the Marines as we reveal ourselves, and it is going to be a Stargate opener, not a Twilight Council. This is terrifying because we're going to be opening up Oracle, if we open up Phoenix, that's going to be disastrous because we're going to have nothing to defend. Zealot Adept, we do move out towards the main base. Reactors on the way, very delayed CC. Marauders are amassing, and there is literally nothing at home to defend. We need to recall back home with what we have. We do have enough energy for a recall, and here we go. The Marauders do reveal themselves. Recall is used here at the natural. Bunker is being turned down. The boys, they have to be pulled. So far, good reactions here out of Parting, but the Marines, they have arrived. SCV goes down. A bit of a blunder there by Beyond. Did not preserve that SCV. But the pylon is falling. That's a shield battery. That's the second pylon. It's going to be cancelled. Going to be denied. Void Ray is on the way. Oracle instead. Oracle is going to be a little bit faster to produce. It is an energy-based unit. It will take longer to really kill everything, but it is on the way. As we're still just rallying more Marines and Marauders across the map. 4 probes go down. And we focus down another one of those Adepts. There's one Adept left. It's going to fall, and now we can just wreak havoc. We take control of the natural. The gateway is depowered. The Oracle is about to pop out, and we'll clean up the Marines. And should work his way through the Marauders as well. Can we depower the Stargate? Okay. That was a little bit ambitious. Stargate will not be depowered. We go for the probes instead. Everything will be cleaned up, but we get 8, soon to be 9 probe kills. Oracle is out of energy, and we're still just rallying across the map. We still have an army. It's going to be 9 workers in total. Björn just regrouping, backing off. He's got Stim on the way. Factory CC has been built. And Parting, he's in a lot of trouble. He's hurting so much right now. He's down in workers. Just now rebuilding. The Oracle, no shot. The stutter stepping in right Björn. He does manage to kill one of those Oracles. The other barely has any energy left. He can barely activate his Pulsar Beam. And Björn, he arrives once again. And this gateway, it's just never really going to be able to be powered here. A Stalker has arrived. Do you have another Oracle? Hey, we're going to be able to clean this up. But not before losing another one of those pylons. And behind this, Björn just has to chill. He's just going to be calming things down, preserving his army, rallying back home. Cyclone production has commenced. I wouldn't be surprised if from here we go for a second Rax. And it's going to be, yep, another Rax is on the way. So basically what's happening here is that Björn, he's delaying his starport. He's laying his starport, he's laying his medevacs, laying drop play in favor of building up a massive army and looking to snowball out of control. And Parting, he does scout this, he's aware, but he can't really do anything about it. He needs to try to keep Björn back at home. He needs to try to cripple him, keep him busy, contain him, do whatever he can to just survive. Behind this, we can see that Parting is transitioning out of Stargate production into a Twilight Council, into Blink Stalkers. It's a bit of an awkward transition here out of Parting, but he needs to. Like, again, Oracles and Phoenixes are not going to help him in this situation. Not anymore. Speaking of, Stalkers are amassing. Third base soon to be on the way. Back at home. Beyond just focusing on dealing with these Oracles. And did we kill one? We killed 2. Bit of a misstep there by Parting. He did lose another one of his Oracles. He's down to 1 Oracle left here. The only thing keeping tabs on Beyond, big revelation, gets eyes on all the production. That is going to be Starport, another Rax on the way. It's going to be a 3-1-1 setup here on 2 bases by Björn. Still no third CC. We don't need a third CC. Björn should be pushing here with his army. And Parting, he's trying to cut corners. He's going for a fast third. But he needs to get away with this third base. This is how he catches back up. This is how Parting can start a comeback if he can get his third base up and running. That's a big if there. That is going to be a big if for Parting. Across the map, he's going to be dancing with the army, hoping to bait it into the stasis trap. The goal, at least. As the third is still on the way. Meanwhile, Beyond's still amassing his army. He's already got Stim, he's already got Concussive Shell, but he's still waiting for Combat Shields. Combat Shields is still in production alongside all of our medevacs to sustain ourselves. Tank production about to commence as well. Parting can't push in, but his goal is to just pick off whatever he can, whether it's a medevac, a marine, even an SCV, whatever he can get. Behind this is getting into his gateway explosion, is going up towards 6 gates. 6 gateways, charges on the way. I imagine soon to be a Templar Archives with Storm, with Archons. Ooh, never mind. We're avoiding Archons. We're going for a Robotics Bay. Okay. It's going to be 8 gates. Okay, so it's going to be an 8-gate charge timing here with, I imagine, Colossus behind this, maybe Disruptors. But before we can think about that next step, that next set of tech, Beyond, he's getting ready. Once we get this next wave of medevacs and tank outs, we should be pushing. Like, there's still no third CC. The longer this game goes on without a third base for Beyond, the more trouble he's going to be in. The stasis, big stasis trap here on the army. Parting, he can maybe take a fight, but no, instead he bypasses the army instead. Goes straight for the main base. Ooh, we'll pick off a tank. Good juggling out of Beyond. Very nice juggling. Keeps his army alive. At the same time, they drop into the main base. 19 probes go down. 1 drop full of Marines here. We wreak havoc. We kill every single worker in the main base. An insane amount of damage. And with the recall being forced, Beyond, he's pushing. He's moving out across the map. He's going for the kill move here. He's already crippled the economy. 19 probes. That is insane. Again, Parting was hyper fixated here on the drop. So were we. As a result, 19 workers went down. A late reaction out of Parting. I don't blame him for being distracted, but that does kind of seal the deal here. Parting has no more longevity in this game. He needs to win a decisive fight. Colossus in production. He dives on the army. Good force fields. Very nice force fields behind this. The Zealots try to break through, but there just are not enough Zealots. Good target fighting with the tanks. Zealots go down. 1 tank did fall. The overcharge being popped. Parting, we can hold. We can barely hold on. That overcharge is putting in a lot of work. It's slowing Beyond down. Meanwhile, Beyond bringing forward a second tank. The first Colossus has arrived. Parting, he's pulling this off, and Beyond is getting a third base on location. And we do force his back. A very nice hold here from Parting. He collapses on the tanks. He's going to be able to get both of them. Did lose a lot of Stalkers in the process, and has he overextended? A little bit. It's so good. We have reinforcements. Parting forcing Beyond back. Now, Beyond still has a lead, but Parting, what's important about what just happened? He retains his workers at the third base. If only he hadn't lost 19 probes in the main. That's the problem. Parting is on 2 base saturation. If he had his third base up and running, that would have been a good fight. That would have been an amazing fight for him, and he would be at a lead. He could afford a second robo. He could afford double Colossus production. Because he still has no saturation or very little saturation in the main, he's pretty all in. Like, Beyond may not have killed Parting, but he has maimed him. And Parting is struggling here to just resaturate. Now he's getting full saturation in the main base. Now we're getting into robo production. Now we get the second robo as well. But again, this could all have been faster if we hadn't lost so many probes. That's the thing. Like, Parting, he's 1 or 2 steps behind where he should be. Which is also why, again, it's impressive that he survived. It's impressive that he held against the first push. But that doesn't tell the entire story here, as Beyond still is looking terrifying with his tanks, with his Marines, with his Marauders. 4th base on the way. Just like before, Parting, his win condition or his goal here is to buy time. He has to buy time to allow this 4th base to get up and running. Before that can happen though, Beyond, he dives in! He goes for the dive, picks off a Colossus. Big pick off there by Beyond. Parting slows him down, throws down a couple of force fields. But Parting, he is in some trouble. Disruptors are on the way. We're making soon to be 2 at a time. There is a lot of potential. There's a lot of potential here in Disruptors, in those Novas. Meanwhile, Beyond, he bypasses the main army. Parting doesn't see. He has no vision. He has no vision of this area, which means this 4th base, it's going to be cancelled. Yeah, Parting, he's out of position. He's rotating around. Base is going to be cancelled. Disruptors, they do move out. Ooh, good splits here out of Beyond. Good dodge overall. We have a couple of force fields, but we expose our Colossus. Overcharge is not going to be good enough. And beyond, he's laying siege upon this base. Again, no splash damage. The disruptors, they need a little bit more time. The Colossus count was reset. Nova goes off. And it just does not connect. GG gets called, and Björn will take the series 2-0, advancing on to the next round. GG. Not just that, but also getting his revenge here, as Björn was 2-0'd last week by parting. Now he's the one doing the 2-0'ing. GG, well played. Again, a solid series there out of Björn. Game 1, it did feel like it ended before it really began. Game 1 was unfortunate, unfortunately. It did end quite quickly. But what I will say is that thankfully in our next games, or in game number 2, it was more of a back and forth. And again, if only Parting hadn't lost so many workers, if only he had been able to preserve some probes, then he would have been in a much better position. He would have been in a commanding position after deflecting the first push. It was very impressive. I was very impressed with how Parting was able to engage, able to control his army, and deal with Björn when he was pushing towards the third base. Unfortunately, just wasn't enough. Just was not enough. And with that, Björn advances on into the quarterfinals, and we're also going to be heading into the quarterfinals as well, and we're going to be finding ourselves in a very different series, in a very different matchup. Meanwhile, I can see in the chats, be wary of the bracket command. As a reminder, these games were played a couple of days ago. We unfortunately weren't able to cast it live, but we are here to catch up with what we missed out on in these past couple of days. And up next, it is going to be a ZVP between Solar and MaxPax. Let's go. So Björn, he gets his revenge. Again, Parting, when it came to his army control, looked impressive, but what he was a little bit lacking in is his tunnel visioning. He was tunnel visioning on his opponent. His defenses did fall by the wayside as a result. Björn advances on. Up next, Solar versus MaxPax. This is going to be an interesting one here. This is going to be a Zerg versus Protoss, and both these players are looking good. Now, we casted both Solar and MaxPax in Masters Coliseum. MaxPax did bow out very early on in that tournament, which is a shame. Like, this event, or Masters Coliseum, that was supposed to be MaxPax's series. That was supposed to be MaxPax's tournament to have a deep run, because he's not going to be at IEM. But MaxPax, he did struggle against Hero, he struggled against Dark, but maybe he can redeem himself here against Solar. Again, Europe versus Korea, it's always a blast to see these two face off against each other. And something that I should reiterate is that even though MaxPax may have lost in Masters Coliseum to players like Dark and players like Hero, Solar is a very different kind of player. Solar, he's less aggressive, he's more macro-oriented, he's more predictable as a result, and I do think that MaxPax fares far better against a player like Solar than he would against someone that's more unpredictable and aggressive like Dark, for example. So yeah, this is going to be a really good matchup, and I look forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. Here we go, as game 1 is going to be on Site Delta. Let's go. Balance. Same chat. Yeah, it's all good. I mean, the command is there for people that want it. It has a spoiler warning on it. I know some people just, you know, maybe they have to head off, but they want to like have a look at the bracket just so they can be aware of what happened as they leave or something. So it's all good. It's all good. But here we go. We're getting to our second series of the night. This is the quarterfinals. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have our blue Zerg player representing onside. It is Solar. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Danish Protoss player, the red Protoss representing Psystorm Gaming. It is MaxPax. And again, this is MaxPax's stomping ground. He is so active when it comes to ESL Open Cup Americas as well as Europe. Again, MaxPax, he is the king of online events, and usually, typically, in events like this, it's MaxPax and Clem. You know, they're the dominant forces in ESL Open Cup Americas. Can they be stopped? Can anyone stand in their way? Yes, we do have Solar stepping up to the plate. For now, it's going to be a hatch first. He was barely able to get that hatchery down on location. Did love to see it. It's going to be a hatch gas pool standard opener out of Solar. Meanwhile, MaxPax going for his own standard opener as well. Again, as we mentioned, Solar is a much more standard macro player compared to Dark or even Shin or even DRG as well. So we shouldn't really expect too much deviation in the early game from Solar. Game 1, Game 2, and Game 3, if we get there as well, we should be seeing hatch gas pool variations, maybe a 15-15 depending on the map, maybe a 14 hatch timing depending on the map as well, but overall safe economic builds. Meanwhile, my eyes are on MaxPax. Again, MaxPax, he can be the aggressor here. Based on this pylon placement, it's looking like a Stargate opener. Reason why I say that is it's a little bit further out, which means MaxPax isn't concerned about it being scouted. He isn't concerned about the tech being seen by the Overlord. Likewise, it's going to have a shorter rush distance to get across the map to get into a mineral line. So the Oracle can get across the map like 1 second faster, and every second counts in StarCraft. And there it is, Stargate. Is going to be that Stargate opener. Based on its rally, should be an Oracle as well. Now, we have seen a rise in popularity, I almost said population, rise in popularity of openers with Void Rays. That is true, especially amongst the Koreans, amongst players like Classic and Hero and Estrella. I'm classifying him as Korean in this example. But they've become very fond of Void Ray openers, just so they can hide their tech and be hyper aggressive and unpredictable. MaxPax, he does kind of like slip it in every now and then, but for the most part, Oracle-based openers are what we expect to see from MaxPax. That is what we expect, as there it is, Oracle first here from our Red Protoss. Do have a Stalker on the way, and this Overlord is going to be hunted down. Meanwhile, across the map, we're getting to a third base, so saturating our natural, saturating our main. We're just droning up and getting in towards the mid game. Really, Solar should be droning up until around the 5-minute mark. Then we should be seeing some tech, whether it's a Bailey Nest or a Roach Warren, that will tell us how Solar wants to approach this. We could also go into a fast Evo chamber with fast +1 melee. We could even try to skip a bunch of tech and go Ling Hydra, or even into Mutas. Like, that's viable, it's definitely possible. But unlikely. I mentioned before that Solar, he isn't really one to, like, you know, be tricky with his tech and you know, throw caution to the wind. We'll see. At least not in this matchup. Solar can be very wild and very chaotic in ZVZ, but who isn't in ZVZ? Like, that's like that's just a part of the matchup. As Ling's gonna be forced back. Third base being taken. The Oracle has arrived. The first one's across the map. Second one is on the way. And we are looking for some economic damage. So far, we're forcing out some Spore Crawlers. Oracle threading that natural. We're keeping the attention in the main. The Queens are dragged out of position. And this natural base is that much more exposed. We get 1, we get 2, we get 3. Up, up. Barely the third drone. For only a bit of hull damage. Pretty good moment so far here by Solar. Sorry, by MaxPax. Getting 3 worker kills, he preserves all of his oracles. Solar doesn't lose too much, but he would have liked to have kept his workers alive here. And behind this is going to be redroning. We have our transition, going to be a Twilight Council and a Forge. This should be +1 and Blink on the way. I say should. +1 and Charge has been quite popular amongst a lot of players, so we'll keep an eye on MaxPax to see what direction he wants to tech his army into. As for now, we do see ourselves being quite active here with a handful of Adepts. Going to be clearing up a lot of this creep. Forcing back the army. 16 Lings on the way. +1 melee, as I did mention, is going to be Solar's option here for how he wants to make use of this army. Still no Roach Warren, if I'm not mistaken. So it looks like we're going to be skipping Roach Ravager. This could be Ling Bane into Hydras. I'm leaning into that for now. We'll see. As the lair is on the way. My brain just immediately thought Lurker Den. That could be possible as well as the game goes longer. Meanwhile, MaxPax, he gets his third base up running. Gateway Explosion. Going to be 6 gates in total. 6 gates +1. We have confirmation. It is Blink, not Charge. So Blink Stalker is going to be coming up next. We've reached the 6-minute mark. There's that Roach Warren. Very late Roach Warren, to be honest. We have a mass amount of Lings, though. They have been revealed. And Max, he goes for the fight. The Oracles, they go ham here on so many of these Lings. The Queens have arrived. It looks like Solar is going to be able to clean up the Adepts, force back this army. A lot of Lings did just go down, though. That was, what, 19 Lings falling for a handful of Adepts. Going for a big counterattack, but this third base looking solid. Good SimCity here, good positioning overall. The Lings, they are deflected. Solar, he invested quite a bit into this and not able to make use of his army. Has to back off. And again, we have confirmation it is going to be Ling Bane Roach Ravager. At least that seems to be the case here as we throw down an infestation pit. Okay. We have the pit on the way to give access to Hive. Meanwhile, Max, he preserves his third base, and he's taking up towards Colossus production. Second Robo's on the way, the Bay, Colossi soon thereafter. Now, Max, he does have 6 gateways active right now, so he can be active with his army. He's just waiting for Blink. Blink just now is about to finish, and then we can push out, we can vie for control of the map, we can deny creep, we can even potentially punish this 4th. Speaking of, we're on the way. The army is moving on out. The 4th base is looking a little bit exposed here. Where is the Ling-based army? Okay, we are rotating over. Lings and Roaches, they have arrived. And we're going to be able to force this back. So far, never mind. The Lings are being cleaned up. And Solar, the majority of his Lings actually across the map. Not really here to help support his army. There we go. The Lings, they do turn back around. But we do have some stasis traps being set up here. Speaking of, decent stasis. We catch a good chunk of those Lings. We come in from behind. We try to get us around, but the Oracles, they're going ham on this army, and so many Lings fall. They just evaporate here underneath those Oracles. A good trade here for those that are curious. One Stalker went down against, what, almost 30 Lings. Remember, 19 Lings had died earlier, and we've gotten up to 52 at this point. Really good trades here from Max, only losing 1 unit, and behind this, Colossus production. Very efficient trades here. Speaking of the Lings, they try to go for a run by, but the Colossi, they just swipe away. Even more Lings get roasted, and this push is terrifying. Solar, he is up in supply, that is true, but his supply is inflated by these Roaches. Again, the Stalker army, the Protoss army is just that much more efficient. Good stasis trap here on these Lings. The Colossi have arrived. The Lings, they just cannot engage. They cannot engage with the army. We're relying on the Roaches. We do have a decent amount, but no Ravagers. Without Ravagers, we can't deal with the force fields. We can't deal with this army anywhere near as well. I mean, there are no force fields, thankfully. But Max gaining so much ground behind this. Vipers are on the way. This is what Solar's been needing. This is what he's been missing. A good way to shut down these Colossi. Meanwhile, good Blinks here at a Max pushing on forward towards the 4th base here of Solar. He's got some Ling Bane here trickling on in, but the Colossi, they're just going ham. Oh my god. Solar a little bit premature. Remember, he has Vipers. He has Vipers on the way. They just popped. We just have to wait a little bit more. We have to buy some time for the Vipers, then we can push in, then we can shut down these Colossus. Until then, we've lost a couple more Stalkers. 5 Stalkers or 120 Lings. Ling Bane engages, but the Ling Bane gets stuck behind the Roaches. Oof. And where are the Vipers? The Vipers, they are late. We've already lost so much Ling Bane. Big yoinks. We get 1, we get 2 Colossus. Again, the power of Abduct. Colossus count gets cut in half, and we just evacuate from here. So I love how Max is respecting the army. He's been trading very efficiently, like really good trades here out of Max. The problem though is that he has no answer to the Vipers. So as soon as the Vipers reveal themselves, okay, we back off. We give Solar some breathing room. We're going to be expanding, and we're taking up towards High Templar. Storm is on the way, and High Templar soon thereafter. And High Templar are what Max has been missing. Now, if Solar can stabilize, if he can get into Hydra Lurker Viper, ooh, as we're going for a Spire, not a Hydra Den. But regardless, if we tech up well enough, then we could force out Sky Toss. But going Ling Bane Roach into Corruptor or into Mutas, that's going to be an interesting one. I'm not sold on it yet. I'm not sold on it, but we'll see how we go. Wings, once again, they do collapse. Good stasis trap here by MaxPax. At the same time, Solo going for a bit of a Baneling run by. Does get a Bane, as we go straight, does get a probe. Only one worker. MaxPax, he does defend. And this is terrifying. He's got a death ball of an army. MaxPax is maxed out on 3 Colossi, on 4 High Templar, a couple of Archons, 1 Immortal, and a Mass Gateway army. This death ball of an army is more efficient than that of Solar. And the way to deal with this, Solar, he has to engage ahead of time. But look at the creep. Or look at the lack of creep. There's no presence here for Solar. He doesn't see the army coming, and he has to engage on his side of the map, right outside his base. So a very scary moment here for Solar. The Roche is distracted. Big storms! Oh my god. Big storms here on the Ling Bane. Zealots are being forced back by the Roches at least, but that's a lot of supply tied up, and that means that MaxPax is gaining ground. He's gaining ground here. The Ling Bane once again gets triggered by the stasis trap. A lot of it does get stasis. And MaxPax, he's got like 2 more storms in the chamber. He can keep on pushing over and over again. Solar trying to hold on, does have those Vipers. Zealot Runby is going to be coming in. MaxPax regrouping, and I like this. When MaxPax he backs off, bam, 2 Stargates. 2 Stargates and a Fleet Beacon. Sky tosses on the horizon. Solar, meanwhile, working towards a greater spire towards Broodlords. The problem here is that it clearly looks like Solar wants to rush into Broodlords. Meanwhile, MaxPax, Sky tosses on the way, and that is going to be the answer to all things Zerg. Oh, big storms, big feedbacks. Uh-oh. With those feedbacks, we can keep pushing. We can keep pushing. There's nothing to stop MaxPax. Again, the Vipers, they need time. They have to regenerate all that energy. And his base is going to go down. It's in a lot of trouble. Solar coming in from behind, just trying to get a wrap around. Big stasis trap goes off on the Banelings. And that hatchery is getting so very low. And it does go down. Big pickoff. Massive pickoff there on that hatchery. Behind this, Solar trying to expand, trying to re-expand. On 4 bases, taking a 5th. But MaxPax, still maxed out, is going to rotate around. And he should be denying the space. Yeah, this space, it's not going to get up and running. That's a kill, not a cancel. We have Lings to engage. Banelings trickling in. Oh, and we're trading out a lot to clean up these Zealots. And MaxPax, his army, it's coming. His goal here, not just to deny the 5th, but to shut down the 4th, contain Solar into 3 bases, and kill him from there. Just starve him out. Carriers are on the way. Now, Solar, at least he kept the Vipers alive. The Vipers, they've been alive this entire time. They're regathering that energy, and with them, we can try to hold on here. It's going to be a tight hold, though. The problem here is that at this point, it's not about the Colossus anymore. They're a part of it, yes, but even without them, MaxPax can win a fight and win the game. So he needs to be respected. Unfortunately, Solar, no lurkers. Broodlords are on the way, though. 7 broods. But they just started. No shot. They're still in production. Big storm here on the Ling Bane. Good abductions. Very nice yoinks here as 1, 2, 3 Colossus go down. We get every single Colossus. But the reality is, we can keep pushing. The Colossus, they don't matter. Not anymore. And now it's about the Sky Toss. It's about the Carriers and everything on the ground as well. As MaxPax is snowballing out of control. Where's the anti-air? Where are the Corruptors? Where's the anti-air? It's just not here. Doesn't exist. He has a handful of Queens. But that's what the Carriers are for. Yeah, the Carriers, they push on forward. At the same time, big Zealot run by. GG gets called, and MaxPax will take game number 1. GG, well played. A solid game there from MaxPax. Just very much so in control. And again, from the very beginning, he has some just really crisp Stalker micro. He traded so well, so efficiently against Solar. And because of how well he was trading the creep, there was barely any creep on the map for Solar. He just wasn't able to keep up with the Blink Stalker movement without any creep. He had no vision, he had no scouting, he couldn't slow down the army, and he couldn't stop his 4th base from going down over and over and over again. And just a really solid game there out of MaxPax. Very well done. Very well done. Game 1 in the books. And now we're getting into game number 2. And I'm hoping we can get it back and forth. And this is going to be an interesting one. Game 2 is going to be on hard lead. A much smaller map. And if Solar wanted to be aggressive, if we were casting Dark or Rainer or Shin, I would 100% assume an all-in. Like a Queen Roach all-in. But we'll see what our players have in store for us. We'll see what this Zerg player has in store for us. As spawning in the top left-hand corner of hard lead, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the blue Zerg representing onside. It is Solar. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the player currently leading this series 1-0. Looking to clean this up even. It is the red Protoss representing Psystorm Gaming. It is MaxPax. Here we go again. A solid, very solid game 1 out of MaxPax. When it came to what Solar was doing, it wasn't just the fact that he lost a lot of map control early on. It didn't help, of course it didn't help. But the fact that Solar was rushing into Broodlords is also a really tricky thing to do. As we saw, it means that he's stuck with Roach Ling, and he didn't make a single Ravager. And the reason why Solar wasn't making any Ravagers in that last game, even though they would have helped, definitely they would have supported him, is because he was preserving that gas, spending it on the Spire, spending it on the Greater Spire, and eventually spending it on all those Broodlords as well. And again, this is just such a really uncomfortable and awkward transition. Something that is more seamless is Hydras into Lurkers, because you first start with the Hydras, then you can trickle in with like Lair Tech Lurker Tech into Hive Tech Lurker Tech. It can be a faster transition there. Solar, he did risk things. Now, going into Broodlords can be very powerful, which is why he risked it. But MaxPax did a really good job at punishing Solar as Solar was trying to tech up and trying to be greedy tech-wise. So again, there's like a lot that came into why MaxPax had so much control, and you know, an added reason to that is because of how Solar was teching and how he was trying to approach the game. Now we're getting into game number 2, and here we can talk about the map. We're on hard lead. Very small map, very short rush distance by ground. As I mentioned, if we did want to go for a Roach base all-in, like a 3-base all-in or a 2-base all-in with like a Queen Walk, these are very powerful here on hard lead. We have seen MaxPax fall to these builds before, but we'll see. We'll see how Solar wants to approach this and how he wants to get into this game. We shall see. For now, it is going to be a Stargate opener once again from MaxPax. It's going to be an Oracle-based opener. This will lead into a 3rd base. This will lead into a solid setup here from MaxPax. He could go for Blink Stalkers again, or he could deviate as well. He has options. Does have plenty of options available. Meanwhile, Solar just going to be getting to his 3rd base, droning on up, pulling out of gas once he gets enough for link speed, and should just be droning and making queens, and eventually defending and reacting to what MaxPax is doing. Again, Solar, he's a very reactive player. Doesn't often initiate things himself. Not often. Not in this matchup, I should also emphasize. Not in this matchup, but for now, the Oracles are soon to hit the field. Overlord is already being chased away here by MaxPax. And to wind it back again, Solar did go for a very delayed Roach Warren into just +1 melee into +2 melee Lings with Roaches to support. Into a very greedy tech-heavy style. Into that Hive, into those Broodlords. Meanwhile, very nice run by here with these Lings who do slip into the main. We do get a full scout, and we do get eyes on the Oracle. On the 2nd Oracle that's on the way. We also force some of the energy to be wasted. A good start for Solar. He confirms the build, he delays it, he gets rid of some of the energy. Lings, they do rock up once again, and they will confirm the third base. They can't do anything about it, but they do confirm the third has been taken. And we'll see if MaxPax can make some magic happen with these oracles. Gets across the map, gets 1, gets 2, gets 3. Oh my god. 4 drone kills here. A much better start compared to game 1. Remember, game 1, MaxPax killed 3 drones. Game 2, 1 more than that. 4 worker kills, pretty good. Pretty good so far out of MaxPax. Bit of a better start overall compared to game 1. Adepts are amassing, and we are soon to move out. Now, we can kind of use these 2 units together, the Adepts alongside the Oracles. We can clean up a lot of Lings. We can deny a lot of creep as well. That's exactly what we're going to be doing. MaxPax moves out. Solar, meanwhile, once again, Evo Chamber. This should be for +1 melee. Should be for prioritization of Ling Bane early on. And there it is. Melee's on the way, and we are amassing Lings. Meanwhile, the army has arrived, and we are looking to deny the 4th. Oh, this 4th base is taking a lot of damage. We do commit to the shade, though. All the way into the natural base. Lings, they are arriving just in time. We still get 2 workers. We're going to get 2 drones. Meanwhile, the Oracles, they hit the 3rd base. At the same time, the Adepts, they shade into the main. 5 workers go down. Not bad. This was 5 workers for 4 Adepts. A 1-to-1 trade here, as it looks like we get 1 more drone in between the bases. I'm sure MaxPax was hoping for a little bit more damage. The plus side is that Adepts don't really scale too well into the mid game, so we do want to get rid of the Adepts, but I'm sure we would have liked to have traded a little bit more efficiently than that. At least a little bit more. As once again, we're going for a +1 attack into Blink. Likewise, we have Solar going into +1 melee, into Roaches, into a Lair. So very similar playstyle so far. Very similar. Ooh, very nicely done, as it looks like we do force a cancel on the 4th base. Very nice run by here out of Solar. Does delay the 4th. More Lings are amassing. We're cutting workers here at 75. Once again, ooh, very tech heavy here as we are rushing into an Infestation Pit, into Fast Hive, into 1-1. For a moment there, I was like, yo, is Solar just going to go Ling into Ultra? But he is incorporating Roaches. Roach speed is on the way, and we will have access to them. As Lings go for a big run by, we get a kill on a Gas Geyser. Not too bad. Ooh, meanwhile, this is much earlier tech. Okay, so a couple of things. One, this time MaxPax, he delays his push a little bit further. As he's moving out, as he's hitting with all these upgrades, we already have the next step. Second Robo, the Bay is done. We're getting into double Robo, I imagine, Colossus production, maybe Disruptors. But just a faster transition out of MaxPax. He's not as committed. He doesn't feel as confident with this push. And to be fair, Solar, he is defending quite well. He doesn't lose too much at all. He's got a good amount of Queens, a good amount of Lings. Hive is about to finish. Again, MaxPax, he's looking to trade as efficiently as possible, but he isn't looking to kill his opponent here and now. Ooh, as a big stasis trap goes off. Massive stasis on those Lings. And the Colossi are on the way. Now, what's scary here is that if MaxPax maintains this position, the Colossi can come in and reinforce this. They can lay siege up on Solar, and Solar just doesn't have what he needs here to deal against those Colossus. So here we go, MaxPax pushing up the ramp. Behind this, Hive is about to finish. This should be for Viper Tech, for Adrenal. Here we go. So far, 0 Vipers on the way for our Zerg player. For Solar. Colossi, they have arrived. Big swipes go off. Mainly, Lings are going down. The Roach army is amassing. We spoke about Ling Bane into Ultra. There it is. Ultra Cavern is on the way here for Solar. It looks like the Roaches are merely just a step. They're just a stepping stone here for our Zerg player, which means we have significantly less Roaches to work with. Stalkers, they have arrived. We're pushing on forward. Oh, the base taking a lot of hits. Yeah, Lingbane forced to engage, but these Colossi, they're trading so well. They clean up so much of the Lingbane, and this base is going to fall. The Queens are trying to survive here, but there's only so much they can do on their own. The Queens go down, the fourth base has been broken. At the same time, we have Zelts going in towards the natural, Zelts towards the main. Big warp in here. Solar, he just needs time. Time to build up ultras, to get into kindness plating and upgrades. Big bailing run by. Oh. It was big, but we only killed 8 probes. It was a little bit lackluster. MaxPax, he did react in time, did pull away. And Solar, he is in trouble right now. Here come the Vipers. Vipers, they push on forward. They're going to be threatening. Good target. Oh my god. Very good target firing here as one Viper goes down. Second Viper goes down. We only yoink one Colossus and we can barely bring it down. As MaxPax, he takes a much better fight. GG gets called. He cleans up the army and Solar has to tap out. That was crazy. The movement there between MaxPax and Solar to be able to snipe those Vipers, to shut them down. Only one abduction. And that was it. That was the moment that Solar needed. He needed to shut down those Colossi, and then maybe he can hold on. But a similar tale. Last game, Solar, he was rushing into Broodlords, maybe rushing in too quickly. And similar story here, where Solar, he was rushing into Ultras instead of Broodlords. He had Kindness plating on the way. He had Ultras soon to be on the horizon. He invested so much into Fast Hive, into towards Ultras, could not make use of them. MaxPax punishes Solar then and there. GG. GG, well played. Again, a really tech-heavy style out of Solar. Doesn't work. Doesn't work here. Not against MaxPax. GG, well played. Congratulations here from MaxPax. Again, just really crisp move outs, really good timings. If MaxPax was any less aggressive, if he was more passive as a player, then Solar, both in game 1 and in game 2, he would have gotten away with the Hive Tech. He would have gotten away with Ultras and Broodlords. Again, so important here that MaxPax was punishing the greed of Solar. Was punishing it, and of course did take it in the end. And with that, we have MaxPax advancing on to the next round. Let's go. Really impressive how MaxPax, considering a lot of his plays always seem to be like he's depending on the low ping. Yeah, I mean, both players have pretty similar pings, as you can imagine. Both players playing from Korea and Europe respectively have similar pings on US Central, which is where they do play. But I understand what you're saying here is that even if both players are playing with high ping, MaxPax, specifically when it comes to playing very Blink Stalker heavy styles, is really risky. To wind it back a little bit, Blink Stalkers, they're very efficient. They have a lot of potential. But if you mess up, if you get surrounded, if you get caught out, if you miscontrol one too many times, and if you lose too many Stalkers, you lose map control, and things very quickly swing in favor of the Zerg player. That's also why it's so impressive whether it's MaxPax or Hero or Classic, like you can achieve so much, but it's always on a knife's edge. Like again, if you lose too many Stalkers, like suddenly Solar is so much more comfortable, and that's another way that he can get away with Ultras, with Hive Tech. Regardless, GG, well played. Well played here, and we are going to be getting ready for our next matchup. Now, I don't have every single replay from this tournament, unfortunately. So MaxPax advances on to the semifinals. We have a very different semifinals that we're about to dig into. As you can see here, we have Clem versus Estrella in the semifinals of ESL Open Cupn Americas 212. This is going to be another rematch. As a reminder, I think it was last week, maybe 2 weeks ago, Clem and Estrella played in the finals. They played in the finals of ESL Open Cupn Americas. And for those that weren't here for it, Estrella won. Estrella 3-0'd Clem. This is Clem post ESL Masters winter. This is Clem arguably being the best Protoss player in the world, and Estrella knocked him out 3-0 in the grand finals. This was like 1 or 2 weeks ago. Very impressive. So I'm happy to see them having a rematch. Unfortunately, they have to play here in the semis. They're not going to be playing in the finals again, so it's unfortunate that they have to place, or they have to face off here. But I'm excited nonetheless, and I'm curious to see how Clem adjusts. I'm curious to see how Estrella adjusts. And again, this is all very important because next week is IM Katowice. This is us trying to get a read on everyone's form. Like, for example, I was worried about Max Pax. I was worried about how he was struggling in Masters Coliseum. But again, you can see that he looks so much more comfortable against a player like Solar, and he's still looking good. He's still looking in form. I want to see the same. I want to see the state here of Clem, of Estrella, of everyone, of even Solar. Solar, he's going to be getting into IM Katowice as well. Looking forward to it. For now, though, going to be going on a short break. Going to be going on a short break here because we have 2 series left. We have this series, and we also have the grand finals as well. Did you see? Did I cast Estrella versus Beyond? Unfortunately, I did not. I don't have those replays available, unfortunately. So, but apparently Estrella did beat Beyond. And again, as I just mentioned, Estrella 3-0'd Clem not too long ago as well. So clearly his PVT is in form and has been improving quite a bit over the past month, I would say. Over the past month of StarCraft. But yeah, we're going to be going on a short break. When we return, we're going to have this semifinals and then the grand finals thereafter. See you soon. Enjoy the Brutal OST. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that break. Hope you were able to take that moment to hydrate your hydra, stretch your roaches, massage your marines, and drain your disruptors, because there's no time for that. Not anymore. I do apologize. I did say that we were going to be covering Clem versus Estrella, but I didn't realize that I actually had both semi-final matches. So here we go. First, we're going to be following MaxPax. We just casted him against Solar. He just went up against Solar, was able to bring him down 2-0, and now he faces off against Dark in the semi-finals here. As a reminder, semi-finals are best of threes. And welcome, everyone. Welcome back to ESL Open Cupn Americas number 212. We're here in the second half of the broadcast, and I'm ready to just sink my teeth into some more Zerg versus Protoss action. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be beautiful. And let's just quickly get into game number 1. Here we go. It is going to be on Oceanborn. Let's go. Now, what I will say is that even though this is a PvZ, and we just casted one, we just casted a PvZ involving one of these players, this series should be a very different series. Again, MaxPax thrives against a player like Solar, against a player that's more passive and more willing to have a standard early to mid game. Much more standard game. This is going to be quite different. And here we go, spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Oceanborn. We have our Danish Protoss player, the red Protoss representing Storm Gaming. It is MaxPax. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponent going for a 15-15. Very interesting. We have our blue Zerg player representing his new team. I believe currently been on this team for like 48 hours, maybe just over a day, representing Talon Esports. It is Dark. Really great to see Talon Esports reinvesting into StarCraft once again. As a reminder, for those who don't know, Dark did leave CranKy Gaming. His military service is on the horizon, and he even said himself that this new team acquisition is a temporary one. That it does seem like Talon Esports may have just signed Dark for IM Katowice. I'm not too sure if they have him signed for anything past IM Katowice. So it may just be like a one event sort of thing. We'll see. We'll see. Regardless, really cool to see Talon Esports diving into StarCraft once again after such a long hiatus. Much love. Much love. Meanwhile, we are just going to be getting into a 15-15 opener, 15 hatchery into a 15 spawning pool. A very safe opener here out of Dark. Gases are going to be delayed as a result, but MaxPax should be feeling pretty comfortable back at home. For those that are curious, the opener of Dark basically means that you can get your base up and running on location on time without being disrupted. The downside is that it does mean you can't be as aggressive as you would like to be. Link speed is delayed, roach production can be delayed as well. I'm curious if we even decide to skip link speed to go into a faster roach warren, which is viable here on Oceanborn. Rush distance by ground on Oceanborn is quite short, and we have seen a lot of roach-based all-ins on this map. I was bringing this up earlier with Solar. Dark is more likely to embrace the roach aggression. Far more likely. But now we have our tag of choice for our Protoss. It is going to be a Stargate opener from MaxPax. Stargate into, I imagine, oracles, as it is rallied across the map, so nothing too crazy so far, other than the fact that, of course, Dark went for a bit of a different opener, something safer, and MaxPax is opening up standard. Here we go. Link's gonna be moving on out, spreading in between the bases. Again, this is a rematch. MaxPax looking for his revenge here from Masters Coliseum. See if he can get it. Sorry, I'm just double checking, because I remember they did face off at least in the group stage. And yeah, so if you weren't here for it, I recommend checking out the VODs on our channel, as we casted all of Masters Coliseum throughout the month of January. And they faced off in the playoff brackets, and Dark was the player to eliminate MaxPax. Fun fact, Dark 4-0'd MaxPax. This was a week ago, if that. This was on the 24th of January, not that long ago whatsoever, and Dark looked dominant in his performance. But it's been a week. It has been a week since that series, and MaxPax, he can look to get his revenge here. We'll see if he can. We'll see if he can redeem himself from that performance in Masters Coliseum. As for now, it's going to be very fast third. Third base getting up and running. Gateway behind it. Oracles are moving out. And again, we're just trying to keep Dark honest. But because the gases were so late, Link speed is very late as well. Very late Link speed here out of Dark because of his opener, which is why MaxPax is safe, which is why he's expanding even without Adepts, which is typically considered to be very greedy, and it is. So I love that MaxPax has adjusted to his opponent, recognizing what Dark can do, what he can't do, and taking advantage of it. So really fast third with minimal Adepts to support, minimal units to support, because we know that there is nothing to threaten MaxPax. Meanwhile, across the map, Oracle's going to be harassing. We dip in towards the main, towards the natural. Big scout as well. MaxPax does confirm the lair timing. Speaking of, Roach Warren is on the way. This should be for Roach speed. Now, the next big question, how hard are we going to drone? As for now, we're saturating that third base, getting up to full 3-base saturation. Oracle try to dip in. They pick up a couple of tumors. Ooh, as I say that, we do come in from behind. 3 more drones go down. We got 3, we got 4, we got 5. 5 workers in total, and the Oracles, they all make it out alive. Really good damage done here so far by MaxPax. We're taking some extra hits, but he will escape. Behind this setup, they shade in towards that natural. They clean up most of these lings. Good trades here from MaxPax as he does focus out more of these drones, and this is becoming too much. 8 workers go to 9. 9 drones fall. Most of the lings, the Oracles are still alive. Sure, we lost the Adepts, we threw them away, but the Adepts, they don't matter, not anymore. And now Dark has to make a decision. Do we try to macro out of this, or do we pull the trigger here and now? And we can't pull the trigger. +1 range is on the way. Roach speed's still on the way. Like, these upgrades, they're still in production. We can't hit without them. So Dark, he's stuck resaturating. Meanwhile, MaxPax, he's fully saturated on 3 bases. He's happily mining. We're building up towards +1 Blink Stalkers, towards Robot production. Hydroden on the way. Interesting. I like this. So Dark, he's working towards Roach Hydra. 4th base is being taken. And I imagine this is to rush into Lurker Tech. Yep, there it is. Infestation Bit, this is for Hive Tech, for Lurker upgrades. Dark rushing towards Hydra Lurker Viper. Can he get there, though? That's the thing. Can he get there after losing so many drones? Or will MaxPax stop him? Because MaxPax is the first to be active. Now, this is a little bit risky. He's moving out without Blink. Blink is not done here for MaxPax, but he does have Oracles to support him. So he's feeling safe enough, he does move out. We'll see if he can get away with this. We'll see if he can get punished. So here we go. Stasis traps are being thrown down. A big revelation on these tumors, as MaxPax can work through them. Ooh, first stasis does get baited by the lings. So a good start for Dark. As more Stalkers going to be reinforcing. Not a lot of Roaches, to be honest. Not a lot of Roaches. It means the Hydra's a little bit more exposed, but in general, we're going to be able to force this back. Good concave here at a MaxPax, but he cannot break through. Ooh, as we bait out another stasis. Dark, yeah, forcing this back. Is bleeding out some Roaches. Looking at the units lost tab here. Trading 1-for-1 Roaches for Stalkers. Hydra's going down. These Stalkers are so low. Oh my god. We have more reinforcements coming in. MaxPax, he's trying to force the issue, but he's being punished for it. A lot of Stalkers go down. Not the best trades from MaxPax. Looking at the resources lost, he lost 10 Stalkers for 7 Roaches and 5 Hydras. Dark holds, gets his 4th base up and running. MaxPax getting his own 4th as well. And he's going into double Disruptor production, not double Colossus. Does make sense. Disruptors, they do well against any units, regardless of light or armored. or even neutral. So can do well against Roach Hydra. We can see, though, it's going to be Ling Hydra. So, I mean, Colossi can be a good transition here as well for our Protoss player. Vipers are on the way. Do we have a Lurker Den? We do not. Not yet. So it's going to be Ling Hydra Viper for the time being. A very mobile army. A lot of DPS, but it's a glass cannon. Very squishy. Very squishy composition. As MaxPax, he wants to push in. Does want to push in. Does have a lot of disruptors available. There we go. Dark collapsing this army from behind. Nova's going to be zoning back the Hydras. Grazing some of them as well. Oh. Decent connections overall, as we do pick off a couple of Hydras here and there with those Novas. No big connections. At the same time, Zealot Runby on the right hand side, we had some Oracle harass towards the left. It's also being cleaned up. We did kill a couple of drones, but Dark is maxed. Now, what I'm concerned about, I assume that Lurkers would be on the horizon. No Lurker tech. The longer this goes on without Lurkers, the more Dark is going to be outscaled. The disruptor count's getting higher and higher. We're still making 2 more disruptors at a time. 2 more disruptors on the way here. We catch out some of these Roaches. Roaches on their own, they're gonna struggle. They will be struggling. Ooh, decent connections here with the Novas. We catch some of the Hydras. Dark getting caught out. Yeah, he does get caught out. Here's army in pieces. Big Nova does connect here on the left-hand side. The Vipers are exposed. We snipe 1. We get 2. 2 Vipers go down. A much better engage out of Dark coming in from the right-hand side. A big flank with those Hydras. But MaxPax, he still did so much damage there. He got 2 Vipers full of energy. There's 1 Viper left. Meanwhile, the Hydra army keeps on pushing. That Viper is still very low from earlier. MaxPax barely holding on. At the same time, Zealot Runby comes in, picks up a couple of drones, forces back the army, and this gives MaxPax more time to rebuild. Now, the reason why Lurkers are so important is because Lurkers and Vipers work so well in tandem, where you have the Lurkers to zone away the Stalkers so they cannot freely blink under and dive on top of Vipers. They give you a bit of a safety net. The Lurkers, I mean. And that's a net that Dark just doesn't have. Once again, he comes in for a surround. Gets zoned away. Doesn't quite collapse on the army. There it is. Finally, the Lurker Den is in production, but this is a late den. Very late here out of Dark. Here we go. MaxPax is going to keep on pushing, cleaning up more of this creep. Never goes off. Not quite connecting. Just zoning back the army. So yoinking a couple of... we yoinked the Stalker. A bit of a misclick there out of Dark. Bit of a misclick. Decent amount of Hydras. Oh my god! As we finally get a juicy connection on the Hydra's big shot there from MaxPax. He can keep up the momentum. He can keep on pushing. Can keep on pushing behind this 5th base being taken. We're reinforcing so many disruptors. How many do we have? 8. 8 disruptors, soon to be 9. I'll be honest, I still would have liked Colossus more. I think Colossus would have been so much more impactful here. Another Viper goes down, and another! We reset the Viper count. The Lurkers at too little too late. Dark, he's already lost so much, and you can see the disparity in army supplies here as more Novas connect. MaxPax is maxed out. Dark, he's down 50 supply. Oh no. The face. Feels bad, man. As Dark, yeah, he's just being picked away at. Not happy about the situation. Not happy about losing so much. 4 more Vipers are in production. Zealot Runby, they just don't stop. Zealots in the natural in the 3rd base, and we bypass the Lurkers. They're out of position. We take down the Queen. Some Hydras. Big shots here on the Lurkers. And MaxPax, oh my god. His balls. He has so many. They're big, they're huge. Dark cannot handle them. GG gets called, and Max takes a 1-0 lead. GG. Already able to outperform what he was trying to bring to the table during Masters Coliseum. But this was a very interesting game as well. Again, I do think that it did take, that maybe Dark was overconfident. I mean, that's without saying. That's part of his persona. That's what he's about. But I do think that that did hurt him here. I do think that he stuck to Ling Hydra a little bit too long. There was that moment I didn't like that he was reinforcing with roaches for quite some time as well, and his army was struggling here against the robo backbone of Max's army. Whether it was Colossus or Storm or Disruptors, I mean, all roads lead to Rome here, and all those tech structures typically would force out something more robust out of Dark. And it did feel a little bit too greedy, a little bit too ambitious. Maybe that's a better way of putting it. A little bit too ambitious for Dark to rely on Ling Hydra Viper without lurkers for so long. By the time he was getting into lurker production, we already had almost 10 disruptors on the field, and yeah, we could just have our way with Dark before he could hit critical mass of lurker. Like, we needed more time to build up more lurkers, and Max refused to give it to him. GG, well played. A solid game there out of Max. And now we're getting into game número 2. Let's go. Let us go. Catching up with the chat. We're diving into game number 2 here, and spawning in the top left-hand corner of Hard Lead, we have our red Zerg player representing Storm Gaming, leading the series 1-0. It is Max. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the blue Zerg player representing his new team, Talon Esports. It is Dark. Here we go. Is one good French player? There's a lot of really good French players. When I think of French players, I think of DNS, I think of Shutdown. Those are the two that come to mind. Clem is also French. Who else? Aragfire. There's quite a lot. I guess if you don't really watch a lot of European StarCraft, if you don't watch especially a lot of like WTL or a lot of these online events, then maybe you wouldn't be familiar with DNS and Shutdown. But they're both really good, European Protosses and solid players in their own right. I do understand the nostalgia though. I think someone was saying how strong the scene used to be. How strong the French scene used to be, and I get brought back to late Heart of the Swarm, right? Late Heart of the Swarm, that was the era of, it was Fire Cake, Lil Bao, and Marine Lord, as well as I guess Stefano kind of lurking around there. He was semi-active at the time as well. But yeah, like there used to be some very strong French presence. Not just that, but also O Gaming at the time was like a big part of that scene. Help prop it up, you know, nation wars, like there was a lot happening. Unfortunately, a lot of those players have retired, right? Like Marine Lord, Firecake, and Lil Bao, they've all retired. They've all stepped away, or Lil Bow Wow, even. They've all since retired, and there are still players that have taken their place. And I mean, Clem is like the best Terran, one of the best Terrans in the world, the best Terran in Europe, and they still have a strong presence, but I understand not as much as they used to. And a big reason for that as well, I'm sure, is also what happened with O Gaming, right? Like a big shout out to Comeback TV, who have risen in the ashes of O Gaming. But that's like the equivalent of the German scene losing Take TV, for example. Like that'd be devastating. And I'm sure that did negatively impact the community in France as well as the player base. So yeah, there's a lot of history there, But regardless, you know, we're delving into game number 2 here, and so far MaxPax's already performing better than what he brought to the table in Masters Coliseum. Can we keep it up? Can we just clean up this series, or will we have an ace match? Personally, I would love an ace match. I would love for this to go all the way to game 3, but it's not on me, it's on the players. Here we go. Oh yeah, I see in the chat. Yeah. I was referring to, I was comparing O Gaming to Take TV when it came to the French community. Here we go. As the Overlord is going to be shut down, MaxPax taking his 3rd base and getting into his opener. So far, nothing too crazy. Do have our Oracle production well underway. Soon to be harassing. Remember, game 1, against Solo, we killed 3 drones. Last game we killed 4 workers with the Oracle Harass. We'll see if we can get a little bit more done here as we do dip in between the bases and threaten that natural. I mean, to be fair, we killed even more drones if you remember with the Adept Harass. It was insane. It was crazy how good of a start MaxPax had as well, right? With his Oracle Harass, with his Adept Harass. Killed quite a lot of workers. We'll see if he can replicate that success. I thought DNS didn't play much anymore. No, he's been very active. Fun fact, a couple of days ago, he joined Berserker. He left the Platinum Heroes and he joined Berserker Esports. But yeah, DNS has been very active this past year of StarCraft. I will say, as we get a couple of drone kills, DNS was very inactive in 2022. 2022, I want to say 2021 as well. But specifically 2023, last year, DNS was very active. Which was really cool to see. It was really cool to see his comeback, basically, because I thought he'd retired. I'll be honest, I thought DNS retired, but last year he proved everyone wrong, and yeah, DNS is looking damn good. So really cool to see that he recently joined a new team to try to, increase that, as we do have the Adept Harass getting in towards that natural. Oh my god! Drone's getting very low here. Only 2 go down for now, but we can get even more damage done. Adepts a shade into the main base. At the same time, we have Oracles harassing towards the 3rd as well. 8 workers full. 9 drones even. Oh my god. Can we get 10? We can. 10 workers go down to the Adept Harass. This is becoming too much, and this is going to be triggering a big counterattack. Dark has to deny the 3rd base. He has to do some kind of counter damage. If not, he will be strictly behind. What can we get done? Here at the 3rd base, shield batteries on the way. Good SimCity here and good positioning with the Stalkers. Oracles are racing back home. And these Lings, we have 14 more Lings in production. We have a big wave on the right, a big wave towards the left. Again, those 14 Lings just now are amassing. And can we make some magic happen? The pressure, the onus right now is on Dark. Lings, they do threaten the natural. But again, so far, MaxPax is in position. Now, Dark, he is hurting so bad because Dark didn't just lose a bunch of drones. He also didn't make workers. He's committing so hard to this Ling Bane aggression, and here we go. He's going for it. Banelings, they do roll into the mineral line. Good reaction out of MaxPax. He does pull away in time. Lings, they come in from the left-hand side as well. We try to get us around on these Stalkers. But the Lings, the overcharges pop. The Lings, they do no damage whatsoever. They get deflected. And despite the commitment, only 2 probes. Only 2 workers fall. The 4th base survives. The 4th base is still up, soon to be up and running. And Dark, instead of re-droning, he invested so much into this Ling Bane. That's why Dark is so behind in the drone count. He committed so much, and now he's 1, 2, 3 steps behind that of MaxPax. Hive is on the way, though. We did rush into an infestation mate. We're rushing into Hive Tech. Is this... What can we make use of this? That's the better question. Do we rush into Ultras? I mean, I guess that's the answer here. There's no Roach Warren. It has to be Ultras. The problem here is that Ultras are really good if you have map control. They're really good if you have momentum. They're not amazing if you're trying to come back from behind. They're very much so a momentum-based unit, and That's the momentum that Dark doesn't have. Meanwhile, Lings, they're going to be harassing. We do have Stalkers pushing in. Big stage trap here on the army. And MaxPax, we can keep pushing from here. He's going to retreat. He's going to respect this position. He's going to respect all these Lings. We do have Colossi amassing back at home. We're making 2 Colossi at a time. I'm really curious what we do invest in with this Hive, but based on what we have, Ultras is the only answer. Otherwise, we would already have a Hydrogen. We would already have a Spire. Here comes MaxPax. Pushing on forward, clearing up a lot of those Lings. The Colossi have arrived. Vipers, they will help. They will help here against these Colossi. The problem is that we need so much time to get into them. Ling's going to be harassing. Once again, swatted away. Once again, MaxPax takes no economic damage. And now we can push in. Now we can push in towards that 4th. And it's going to go down. There's just no stopping it. There's no saving it. The hatchery will fall. That's a lot of... Oh my god. That's how many Lings? 112 Lings here for Dark. Oh boy. He's got a massive army. A massive Ling army, specifically. Unfortunately, it's quite limited. It's restricted, of course, to melee. Melee aggression. We're pushing forward here towards 3 Colossi. Can Dark even deal with this? He's stuck here at 150 supply. Vibes are coming in. Good yoinks. We get 1. We get 1 Colossus. Big stage traps go off. We basically create some force fields, and there's no way to engage. Ling Bane is getting annihilated. 112 Lings cannot touch this. We kill 1 Colossus. Only 1. And behind this, Dark, he's struggling. He plummets here to 134 supply. Again, these stasis traps were massive. Reducing so much surface area here, keeping the Stalkers alive, saving them from the surround. Speaking of Dark, yeah, this is a Hail Mary play, going for a big run by. It's all we can do. But the wall is a wall at the natural, towards the 3rd base, towards the 4th even. We are getting some damage done here. The Lings, they do bust in. We get 10 and 12 probe kills. That's okay. But Dark, he's still up against the wall. He's still going pure Ling. Again, he just doesn't have any tech, doesn't have the economy, doesn't have the drones to sustain anything else. It's just pure Ling Bane Viper. And a big reason as to why Dark is in this position, as we mentioned before, is 1, because he lost so many drones, and 2, because he took so long to resaturate and to actually make those drones. So Dark has been all in for the past like 5 or so minutes, and it's not working. GG gets called. There's not even a final fight here, as the Lings are deflected, and MaxPax, he gets his revenge. He gets a 2-0. GG, very well played. MaxPax, he does take down Dark 2-0. Again, really good harass, both in game 1 and game 2. I almost want to say that the Adept and Oracle harass of MaxPax carried him through this series. He dealt so much damage to Dark in both those games, crippled the economy, and Dark had different responses, if you remember. Here in game 2, I mean, Dark put himself all in, basically, going pure Ling. When it comes to this Ling army here of Dark, it is ideal if he's able to fight out on the map. But the stasis traps were just so good for MaxPax. Like, Dark could not get any good engagements, could not get any good surrounds. In game 1, we had a similar story where Dark, he took a lot of damage early on, and his response was to rush into Hydras. But he was stuck on Hydra tech for far too long. Got outscaled. GG, well played. Really cool, really good to see MaxPax bouncing back. Again, after a rough performance in Master Colosseum, a good performance here against Dark. Now, with that win, MaxPax advances on to the Grand Finals. But we have to determine who plays against MaxPax in those finals. We alluded to it earlier. It is going to be Clem versus Estrella. Let's go. And as we get ready for this, a big shout out to Shiva Blaster in the papi. A Shiva Blaster, thank you so much for resubscribing. 26 months, over 2 years. Thank you so much for the support. Over 2 years of support as well. Gracias, papi, gracias. We appreciate the support. Thank you so much, and I hope you're enjoying the content. Hope you're enjoying the broadcasts. Hope you're enjoying StarCraft. Thank you. Loving this amount of Protoss wins in these replays. I mean, even during the live coverage, I mean, if you're curious, I recommend the VODs. Mass Coliseum was a crazy tournament. It was an amazing event, and yeah, some really good games, really good matches in Masters Coliseum. I do recommend it, especially considering that Masters Coliseum was the premier event right before IM Katowice. IM Katowice is next week, so if you're really curious about the state of play for players like Maru, for Solar, for Raynor, for Serral, for Hero as well, I do think that Masters Coliseum is a really good event to watch, to get again a better idea of how good these players currently are leading into IEM. Everyone would have been in full practice. Exactly. Like, Mass Coliseum is like the event, and it's gonna be kind of like the prelude to IEM, which again is a week away. It's crazy to think about it. It's right around the corner. I can't wait. I cannot wait. Regardless, I'm catching up in the chat. I'm catching up. Here we go. As we're getting ready for our TVP to determine who plays against Max Specs in the finals. Will it be Clem or will it be Max Goddamn Angel? Let's go. Oh, as one moment. I need to double check something. So, just as a reminder, I am covering these matches via replays. These games were played a couple of days ago, and I couldn't cover them live because I was traveling. The reason why, I should reiterate, because there's a lot more people tuning in now. Reason why there are no cams today, and I might sound a little bit different, and in general the stream may look a little bit different. I was on a plane. During ESL Open Cupn Americas, I was on a plane and I was headed over to Poland. I'm here in Poland, no longer in Australia, as I will be here for IEM. For IEM Katowice. I arrived here a little bit earlier just so I can, you know, adjust to the environment and adjust to Poland. And yeah, it's not gonna, me being in Poland and me not being at home and not having my home setup, it's not gonna stop me from casting. I'm gonna be casting every day, papi, every day. I have to catch up. I have to make up for it. So so that's why we weren't casting live. And that's why there are no cameras at the moment. I need to buy some lighting. I didn't think I would need it, but basically I need lighting because the camera is not looking good. I did bring my cam though. I did bring my webcam from back home. But I do have to buy some lights and so just to make it work. But yes, we are covering this from replays, and one moment here. I do want to double check something because I think I'm missing some replays. That's why I bring this up as I head on over. Just gonna be checking the folder. Because I may have just missed it. In the round of 4. Okay, I have confirmation. So that is a bit of a shame. So, when it comes to Clem versus Estrella, I was really looking forward to digging my teeth into this. As a reminder, Estrella did actually beat Clem, and he 3-0'd Clem in the grand finals of ESL Open Cupn Americas number 212, I believe. Let me just double check. Sorry, 211. We're casting 212. 211. 110. Sorry, 210. Okay, 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, we casted the finals of Australia versus Clem in this tournament, as this is a weekly tournament, and Australia 3-0'd Clem. He 3-0'd, it looked damn good as well. He 3-0'd the hell out of Clem, which was crazy. But it looks like we're missing game 1. So Clem is leading this series 1-0. I don't know what happened in that game, but we do not have access to that replay. So Clem is up 1-0. He is getting his revenge. He's making up for what happened 2 weeks ago. And now we're getting into game number 2 on Oceanborn. Let's go. Let us go. But yeah, that's maybe why I sound a little bit different. Hopefully there's no echo. I know the room that I'm in has a little bit more echo to it. And here we go, spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have our American Protoss player, the best player in all of America, or the land of the Americas, representing Match Arena Esports. It is Australia. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the French Terran, the red Terran player, representing Team Liquid, getting his revenge, leading the series 1-0. It is Clem. For those that are curious, I see some people in the chat, why are so many new teams popping up and picking up players? Well, a big reason for that is Gamers 8. Gamers 8, for those that are curious, is basically going to be the next World Finals for StarCraft. IM Katowice is no longer the World Finals. Instead, it is going to be Gamers 8, at least for StarCraft, for most events. For most esports, I should say. Oh, as our caster is going to be converging amongst themselves. Let's go. Oh, apparently Zombie Girl was casting. Let's go. And we're starting off with a proxy gateway. But for those that are curious, Gamers 8 is going to be where the World Finals is, halfway through the year. And Gamers 8, they have a bonus. They have a big bonus for esports teams that take part in multiple events. So if you're an esports team, and if you're taking part like in CSGO, for example, if you also had some players competing in StarCraft, then you would get a big bonus. You'd get it's like 500k or something. Like, it's insane. So Gamers 8, they're incentivizing other teams to actually invest into all the esports that are a part of Gamers 8. That's why Cloud9 picked up Gumiho. That's why Na'Vi picked up Spirit. That's why these teams are interested in picking up not even a full roster, but 1 or 2 players sort of thing. They have a lot of incentive to do so. As for now, we are getting into our build, and of course it was a proxy gateway to begin with. Big shout out to Base Habit in the chat. Thank you so much for giving us a raid. We do appreciate it. Hope you had a great stream. Hope you had a great ladder session, as the Zealot does slip in, but good control here out of Clem. He does shut it down, doesn't lose much of anything. 1 SCV going down here for 1 Zealot. Pretty good trade so far. Was an economic opener out of Clem. Was a Rax expand. Ooh, as we do shut down that probe. A second Zealot has arrived. We do delay the CC for a moment, but the CC is still very much so on the way. Adept has arrived in Australia. Can we force another delay? We do get to kill the SCV. Very nicely done. SCV goes down. Zealot dips in towards the main. Do have a 1-1-1 setup here. And so far, Australia, he's achieving quite a lot with this. Again, all he wants to do is delay the expansion. Delay the CC. Behind this, Australia getting his own natural base up and running. Soon to be taking up. There it is. Our tech of choice is going to be a Twilight Council into Blink Stalkers. But we'll see if Australia can get away with it, as a Cyclone has arrived. So far, good control out of Australia. Oh my god. Oh my. Does take some extra hits there. The lock-on was brutal. And Clem is forcing this back. We'll be able to expand. Natural base going to get up and running. And the game will settle from here. So as the game settles, Clem is getting into a 1-1-1, very safe opener. The downside of what Clem is doing is no scout. No SCV scout, no Reaper scout, no Widowmine drop either. He has no idea what Astray is doing. And what Astray is doing is going into the Invisible Man. Dark Shrine. Dark Shrine. I thought it was Blink, Papi. I thought it... No. We're rushing into DTs here, and Clem has no idea what is going on. But I love that he's playing safe. Raven opener here at a Clem. Very safe play here. Bunkers on the way as well. He's just fortifying himself here on 2 bases. If he keeps the Raven back at home, he should be perfectly fine against what is to come, against the Dark Templar. We'll see if he does keep it at home. Is worth it, as we do see behind this Estrella doubling down. We do have the Prism on the way, an extra gateway as well. It's going to be 3 active gateways here for Estrella. Now, again, unfortunately, Clem is prepared for this. Even if he didn't have the Raven, scans would be available as well. So there's a lot of pressure here on Estrella. Now, he could try to bypass this Raven, could dip into the main. Damage can still be done with these DTs. And there we go. We have 1 DT waddling in towards the natural. We have 2 DTs headed for the main base. Here we go. The Raven's in position. DTs do get deflected at the same time. DT does waddle in towards the natural. And we will get a couple of SCVs. We get 1, we get 2. We get 3 workers here, but this is still not good enough. Raven rotates around. A Prism takes a lot of takes a lot of damage in general. Takes a lot of damage. Estrella gonna be able to keep that Prism alive at least, but he's stuck in the main base. And so far, this opener hasn't been worth it. The scary thing for Estrella right now is his Blink. Blink is late because of the Dark Shrine. And as a result, he just doesn't really have much of an army to speak of. I mean, he has no army. His army is 6 Stalkers here in the center of the map, and he cannot avoid a fight. Or if a fight were to occur, he cannot avoid it. Cannot blink away. Cannot micro. Behind this, the Bay is on the way for Colossus production. Prism going to get recalled back home. He's going to be safe. And Clem is taking a 3rd base. He's on a 3-1-1 setup, which is pretty standard, and he's not going for a 2-base all-in. He is going to be expanding. Observer does get found out. Does get shut down. From here, we should soon be pushing. Now, thankfully, Estrella is barely going to finish up Blink. +1 still on the way. Colossus production has begun here. Estrella is looking to stabilize. And again, he's got a pretty good worker count. He's been quite greedy behind this. Has he been too greedy, though? This is a pretty terrifying army. We do not have Interference Matrix. We do have that Raven, though, as we're coming in for some auto-tard harass. Auto-tards in the main base at the 3rd as well. Probes are falling. 3, 7, 9, 10. Oh my god. 10, 11 probes go down. And here comes the main army towards the 3rd base. Estrella, he has been distracted. He's been focusing on the main force. Big tank volley is going to be going off. Well side, they do try to waddle in. But again, this overcharge, it's about to run out. Once it does, we can dive. Speaking of diving, a good dive from Estrella does shut down the tank. Does force this army back. So far, so good. Estrella, he's holding. He retains his Colossus count, and that Colossus count is going to get higher. 2nd Colossus is on the way. +1 attack about to finish. We're working on +1 air. Ooh, this is greedy. This is wild. We're rushing into +1 air. We're rushing into a Stargate for Skytoss. Bold move here by Estrella. We'll see if we can get away with it. Crazy. Still dealing with the main army. We have Marines, Marauders. Pretty heavily overstimmed. We're going to be able to force this back. Now, if Clem is too passive, we can get away with this. Now, I believe once the Stargate finishes, we should be working towards a fleet beacon. We shall see. Clem building up his army. Amassing more Marauders, more Marines. Now, because Clem lost his tank, he still doesn't really have much of a backbone to his army, so Estrella may be able to buy some time. 4th base on the way, charge as well. Proxy finally about to be found. As we mentioned, this is a carrier rush. There we go. 2nd Stargate and the Fleet Beacon. Estrella, he's trying to rush into carriers, but he needs time right now. It takes a long time to actually start up carrier production. So there's a window, basically. There's a big window here where Estrella is vulnerable. Basically, what's happening is because he's rushing into Skytoss, there's no second robo. There's no second robo, which means there's no double Colossus production, there's no double Disruptor production. The splash damage available here to Estrella is very limited. He is cutting Colossus at 2. He has 2 Colossi, that is it. Usually you cut at 3, and then of course you refine your army with Disruptors. So this army is very vulnerable, and if Clem were to push right now, he'd probably kill him. He'd probably kill Estrella. I don't think Estrella could stop this army. But Clem doesn't know that. Not yet. So he's just chilling, getting a 4th base, working towards Vikings, Ghost production, Armory for 2-2, more Raxes. We're just chilling. The longer this goes on, the better it is for Estrella. Because here comes the first 2 carriers. They're on the way. They are on the way, and Estrella desperately needs them. Now, these first two carriers, that's not enough. That's not gonna be. We need like take critical mass. We need like 6 carriers if we want to survive. 1 disruptor at a time. Widowmines, they do come in, and we're gonna get some damage done. We scout the tech. Big moment. 5 probes fall, and we scout the Stargate. We see the carriers on the way, and as soon as we see the carrier, bam, we're pushing. We're pushing here and now. Clem, he knows he needs to end Estrella before that carrier count gets out of hand. We need to stop Estrella here and now. Here we go, the Marines, the Marauders, they have arrived. We do have a couple of Ghosts for EMPs. We have 2 carriers behind this, 1 Disruptor, 1 Nova. We have to make it count. Whether or not Estrella can defend here, I feel like relies a lot on his positioning and, of course, that Disruptor. Clem retreating for a moment, taking his 4th base. 5th CC is on the way, making 3 Vikings at a time, and we're going for a split push. I like this. We're going for a big drop towards the left, main army pushing towards the right. How can Estrella split up his army? Can he split up his army? Here we go. But again, you can see that Estrella, he's slowly closing that gap in supply. He is slowly catching up. Again, Estrella just needs a little bit more time here. Zealot run by runs into a planetary. Gets cleaned up. More Vikings on the way. 2nd starport as well. Sorry, 3rd starport for even 6 Viking production. Jesus. A lot of Vikings. But again, it will help against all things Protoss. Against the Colossi, against the carriers. Estrella trying to be a little bit cheeky. Nova goes off. Ooh, it is spotted. Clem, he was paying attention, goes for the scan. Did consolidate his army. Vikings are coming in. And these Vikings, they can 2-shot carriers. Now Clem backing off once again, threatening another drop. Oh, as he moves out, we collapse on the army. Very nice move here from Estrella. Clem at his most vulnerable. He's forced to turn back around. And Estrella, how many carriers? We have hit 5 carriers at this point. Pushing on forward, we deny the 5th. 6th base even. Yeah, 1 CC goes down. We're going for another and another. And Clem, he has to try to come in. Vikings, they do snipe one of those carriers. 1 carrier goes down. Oof. Decent Nova. The planetary holds the repairs. The repair was too good. Some way, somehow, the planetary does survive. And Estrella has to back off. He lost a lot on the ground. Lost 1 of his carriers. Still up against 13 Vikings. Plus 2 ship weapons on the way. Now, we've made a game out of this. Like, Estrella, he still is lacking splash damage. That's my biggest criticism, is that we could do with either more High Templar or more Disruptors. And Australia's still working on it. Still doesn't have an amazing economy. He's only on 71 workers. Clem has an even worker count plus mules on top of it, so Clem has a better economy. Australia still in trouble. You can see him taking up in every direction. We have Templar Archives, Second Forge. We have +2, even +3 air attack. Upgrades galore here for Australia. And again, he just needs time for all of this to really sink in. Meanwhile, Clem, he's refining his army. He's getting into Bio, Ghost, Lib, Viking. It's the ideal here against what Australia has. Kind of Sky Terran with Ghost to support, basically. It's going to come down to one big fight. Both players are maxed. Both players are maxing out. How much splash damage do we have? We have 3 disruptors. That's okay. It's an okay amount of disruptors. We could do with more, though. No High Templar, no Storm. Now, the concerning thing about that is Storm works better in this situation because disruptors don't shoot up. Look at how many Vikings. We need Storms to zone these Vikings away. Without them, how many Vikings we have? 24. Oh my god. We have more Vikings than any other army unit in this game. 24 Vikings. Again, without Storm, without Archons, we can't zone them away, to be honest. I kind of want Clem to dive in. I don't think there's much stopping him. Like, if we go for a dive, if we blanket EMP and just focus down all the carriers. Oh, as we do recall across south, the mothership has arrived. Okay, the base is going to be going down. We snipe a planetary, but here comes Clem. Planetary does fall 17 SCVs as well. Clem stimming forward, and we recall the hell out of there. We do recall back home. Good moves out of Australia. I believe Australia lost 1 carrier. 1 or 2 carriers went down in that fight. Good pick up there, making use of the recalls, both of them. Now both recalls are on cooldown. Clem can replace that base. Now Clem is in a really interesting position here. Clem has an option. He can either make units or resaturate his base. And he's making units. We have 3 Liberators at a time. So Clem is going to have a super maxed army. This is scary here. Basically, Clem, he's foregoing his worker count in favor of a much larger army. This means that Clem will have a smaller bank. He will have a smaller bank to work with, which means if he takes a bad fight, it's going to be rough to recover. If he takes a good fight, though, he's going to snowball out of control. Like, he has a massive army, and he's going to be able to break his opponent and ideally end the game. Here we go. As Australia does come across the army, getting into Tempest production. 3 Tempest out for Australia. I do like the addition of Tempest in general, especially against Liberators. Oh, nuke here towards the south. At the same time, Zalarambai is deflected by that planetary. Nuke gonna be shutting down some of these cannons. Huh. Gets a pylon, gets some cannons at the same time. Main army pushing in. We're trying to cash out Australia. Good EMP on the Tempest. Oh, we got one. One Tempest does go down. Yeah, Liberators are being thrown down as well as, oh, we take down another one of those. Yeah, another one of those carriers. Yeah, will fall. Yeah, the Vikings, they're just bullying this back. And again, you can see that without Storm, without Archons, there's just nothing to do here. The Vikings, they go ham on the Sky Toss. Big Storms on the army. Oh my god, on the Bio. The Storm we needed. But it's too late. It is too little too late. Every carrier has fallen. Mothership going to be going down as well. Minus 300, minus 300. The ground army takes down the Nexus. And we still have Vikings left over. Still have plenty of Vikings in the air. We can push in. Novas go off. Decent connections. Decent connections, but we take down the Colossi. We can land the Vikings on the army. There's almost nothing left here for Estrella. Tempest, they're just walking into their deaths here. And the liberation has arrived. The freedom. Freedom is here finally. And GG gets called. It's just too much. And Clem will snowball out of control, taking the series 2-0. GG. GG, well played. Ooh. Estrella, unable to replicate his success, will not be able to 2-0 Clem like he did last time. GG. GG, well played. Again, Clem just avenging himself from the last time they faced in the finals of ESL Open Cupn Americas 210. Really cool to see it back and forth. And this was still a really impressive game. To wind it back a little bit, I'm very impressed that Estrella was able to get away with that sky toss, right? Like, he was able to, if you remember, his decision to get into +1 air attack and the Stargate was a really risky one, but it was after he defended the push. It was after he deflected the initial push where the tank went down, where Clem lost his tank, where he lost a lot of Marines. That was the moment when Estrella just rushed into sky toss. It was really risky, but he got away with it. He did get away with it, and he was able to get into critical mass of carriers and refine his army for the most part. The thing he was lacking, of course, was something to zone away those Vikings. Whether it was more storms, whether it was a higher Archon count, whether it was even a higher Blink Stalker count. You know, pick your poison. We needed something more to support the army. As we saw, the 24 Vikings went ham, and they obliterated everything in the air, whether it was carrier, mothership, or even Colossus. That was something that that maybe Estrella wasn't really expecting to see, like just the sheer amount of the sheer amount of Vikings that Clem had. So unfortunately, just wasn't able to deal with that, and yeah, GG well played. It was a good game overall by both players, and again, still really impressed that Estrella was able to get into that composition in the end. Wasn't ideal, was still lacking in some places, but was able to survive to that point regardless. And yeah, with that was able to have a couple of really good moments, like the recall, for example, sniping a base, sniping SCVs, good stuff. And again, I can't wait to see more of him in the coming week. But now we're going to be getting ready for our final series of the night. We casted MaxPax earlier. MaxPax, he 2-0'd Dark, Clem 2-0'd Estrella. And here we have an all Europa finals, a finals that you should be familiar with. If you're maybe not familiar with ESL Americas, if you don't stay up. I know it's at a really rough time for Europe, very rough time. But despite it being at a rough time for Europe, we have a European finals. Clem, MaxPax, alongside Wayne and Geralt, and sometimes Skillus. There are a select few of European players that stay up until like 5 and 6 a.m. competing. They go full degen, by the way. Just unashamedly so. MaxPax and Clem, alongside a handful of others, they wake up at like 1 p.m. and they go to bed at like, 9 a.m. Like they have, some really interesting sleep schedules, but it allows them to compete in this tournament. And as a result, we have an all European finals, and it wasn't an easy road. MaxPax, he went through Solar and Dark to get here. Clem went through Estrella to get here as well, a player who had previously beaten him 3-0. So really spicy finals. They face off more often than not, and we will soon sink our teeth into this after a short break. We're going to be going in a short break. When we return, bam, grand finals. See you soon. Take this moment, get some water, get some snacks, and prepare yourself for what is to come. See you soon. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the grand finals of ESL Open Cup number 212 Americas, Papi Americas. Welcome. Hope you've all been enjoying the broadcast so far. We've been seeing the rise of two players, our European representatives here. We have Clem and MaxPax been working through their own sides of the bracket, and now they face off once again in the finals. Again, because they're so active in ESL weeklies, like the European weeklies and the Americas weeklies, they are very consistently facing off in the finals, and they have themselves to thank for how dominant they are in these matchups specifically. I know Clem, over the past couple of years, has been improving so much here in TVP. I would stand by the fact and say that Clem has the best TVP in the world. Straight up, the best Terran versus Protoss in the world right now. And a big part of that is thanks to MaxPax. Thanks to MaxPax playing on they're basically practice partners. Like unofficial practice partners at this point, because they play so much against each other and they both improve so much. And I do think that Clem has reaped the most rewards out of that. Up until recently, I would have said that Cure had the best TVP, but I think Clem has since taken that away from Cure, and Clem is just a beast in this matchup. MaxPax is as well, but currently I would say that Clem has an edge over MaxPax. And over the past 6 months, Clem, I believe, has won more often than not. When I say that, I mean like a 70% win rate or something like that. So yeah, Clem is terrifying here. But again, they do go back and forth, and MaxPax has beaten Clem, I'm sure, many times as well. So I look forward to it. I look forward to another TVP between these two players. But before I get ahead of myself, a big shout out to KBL Wingman in the chat. Gracias, papi, gracias. Thank you so much, saying that you've been watching on YouTube for a while, but you thought it was time to check out the live streams. I appreciate it. We appreciate it so much. Thank you for subscribing for the first time. Gracias, papi. For those that are curious, we do co-stream. We restream here on Twitch as well as on YouTube, so we're live on both platforms. And we try to upload on YouTube as well. I mean, we do upload on a daily basis. But as you can imagine, we cast multiple times a day. Usually, we cast multiple times a day. And because of that, we limit our uploads on YouTube to 1 a day, and we've fallen behind. I think currently, YouTube is getting up to October. Like, content-wise, October of last year. That's still like 4 months ago. So we're 4 months behind when it comes to YouTube VOD content, but we're catching up. We're slowly catching up. We're getting there. I've been on top of trying to schedule more and more VODs, so we're getting there. But regardless, thank you so much for dropping by. Thank you for the support again. Do appreciate it. As we are now going to be diving into our finals. Content's great. Keep it up. Thank you. What I will say is that, especially with IEM around the corner, we're going to have some more days off. Usually we don't take days off here on the CranKy Ducklings, but because I'm in Poland at the moment, and because of IEM Katowice, there's going to be a bit of a lull when it comes to casting, which will help us catch up on the VODs on YouTube. That's the one advantage. The one advantage. But regardless, we're here for the grand finals. We're here for a best of 5 between these two lovely players. And game 1 is going to be taking place on Alkyone. Let's go. Let us go. Lucky duck. Yeah, this is a picture I've been using for a long time. Fun fact, when if you're watching ANZ Champs, which is like our regional Australian GSL, basically, for the announcement, for like the production photos, the ESL team, they were asking me like, do you have like any like headshots or something for us to use? I'm like, I got this. and they used it. They used it throughout ANZ Champs, which was beautiful. It was lovely. It was great. It's all I got, papi. It's all I got. I'm not really one that takes a lot of photos. But here we go, spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Alkyone. We have our French Terran player, one of the best Terrans in the world, our reigning ESL Masters Winter Champion. Representing Team Liquid, it is Clem. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Danish Protoss player, the red Protoss representing Storm Gaming. the best Protoss in all of Europe. It is MaxPax. And again, MaxPax, he has been working his way through a lot of Koreans. He took down Dark, he took down Solar, but he was mainly relying on his PVZ. Now he has to rely on his PVT instead. And I was hyping up Clem earlier. Clem with the best Protoss versus Terran in the world, thanks to MaxPax. But we'll see if he can knock him down a peg and kind of vie for that spot and bring him down and try to tame Clem, as Clem has been quite wild as of late. We'll see. For now, we're getting to our openers. It is going to be a Rax Expand out of Clem. Likewise, we have a standard opener out of MaxPax as well. What I do bring up here is the fact that Clem did not go for a fast SCV scout, so no eBay block. eBay blocks are very common in current meta. They're very popular, and Clem has been one to eBay block quite a lot, especially at the start of the patch. But we can see we're kind of easing away from that. Because it's been so commonplace, Protoss players have gotten so good at scouting and reacting to it and shutting it down. So an interesting dynamic. I'm sure we'll see attempted eBay blocks at some point in this series, but not here in Game 1. It's going to be a Gate Cyber Expand out of MaxPax. Meanwhile, Clem going for an economic opener himself, going for a Rax Expand single gas opener here out of Clem. If you remember, Parting was going for like these hybrid greedy builds, going for Gate Expands, like going for these just really fast Nexus, and he was punished for it. MaxPax playing safer, playing standard. As there we go, we do have a Twilight Council on the way. We have chosen our tech. Good scout here out of Clem. He does dive in, does confirm that Twilight Council is aware of the blink-based opener. So big moment here from him. Clem doesn't really get much more done though, as he chips away at the probes, doesn't quite get a kill. But at least he does confirm the tech. That's what's important. Oh, as he tries to find a way in, but he does get zoned away so far. Good control here from Clem. Up! Barely on the edge of range. Gets a couple of hits in, being so annoying. Oh my god. Get out of here. As MaxPax does shoot him away. Behind this, it's going to be a 1-1-1. Interesting. Going to be focusing on that starport, getting into drop play. Meanwhile, we do see MaxPax being annoying himself, delaying mining at the natural with his adept before being pushed away by the heli. Just to confirm as well, it is not going to be Blink. It is not going to be DTs like we saw in the previous series. Here it is going to be Blink. We have Blink on the way. We have our gateways. This could be 2-gate Blink into a third base. We could go up to 3 gates. We could even go up to 4 gateways. But based on this probe movement, it looks like a very economic follow-up here by MaxPax. 2-gate Blink into a third. So no aggression whatsoever. Very much so a mid-game oriented opener, very macro oriented. And Clem confirms. So quick to dip in. My god. The timings from Clem. He dips in, sees the base, knows it's economic, he backs off, knows he's safe, and can focus on his own build. And we'll be following this up with a mine drop. Now again, not a very dedicated mine drop. Only one Widow Mine, and then we go bam, straight into tank production. So really fast tank production here out of Clem. Just really not investing too much at all into this Widow Mine drop. He's not looking for damage, he's looking for scouting. He needs to know, okay, how many gateways behind this? Are we going to be getting into charge? Do we go into Colossus production? Do we go into something like a Skytoss transition into Phoenixes, for example? We need to get a read on what is happening, and that's exactly what the purpose of this medevac drop is. As for now, we dip in. Oh, we do pull back for a moment here. Behind this, we are still building up those tanks. Liberator production has commenced. When it comes to that Widow Mine, oh, one moment here, as we're actually doubling back home. Very interesting. We actually didn't go in completely. We don't really know what's behind this. But Clem, he is going to be retreating here. Coming back to the center of the map. I'm a little bit perplexed by that, but regardless, we do pull back. Oh, Zelnaga does confirm the army. Yeah, Clem bringing everything back home here to meet up with these stalkers. Taking this very seriously, actually. With the mine drop, with the tanks. Good control here. We do just take advantage of these stalkers. Blink is done. MaxPax, he will pull back to the safety of his third base. And he should be able to deal with this. It just is not enough on the ground. Not enough Marines. Not enough tanks. Yeah, we dive on top of it. The tank is going to go down. Good punish out of Clem. Does get 2 stalkers. Very nice target firing. But yeah, now we back up. Clem was getting a little bit too feisty and he will retreat. But yeah, just a very proactive style here, wanting to push towards and try to break the army. Speaking of, Liberator did peel up. Ooh, but does get caught out. Yeah, Liberator does get shut down here, and Clem is not quite able to punish that third. MaxPax, he gets away with the third base, full saturation, soon to be taking gases, and behind this he's working towards a Swarm Tusk style. It is Blink Stalkers plus Charge Lots. No splash damage, no Colossus, no Storm, no Disruptors. And Clem doesn't know. Clem, he wasn't able to confirm. As we do see MaxX pushing on forward, threatening that third base. Tanks are in position. Third CC on location, a very greedy move here out of Clem, but I feel like this is very necessary. Clem, he invested quite a lot to break this third, and it didn't work, right? Clem, he lost a tank, lost a lot of Marines. He bled out a lot of units, so making up for it with a third base on location makes sense. Meanwhile, big shout out to... Oh, I can't say that. Big shout out to Sinistro in the chat. Thank you so much for resubscribing. Fala galera, papi. Fala galera. Obrigado. Thank you so much for resubscribing for 5 months. And also a big shout out to you. You know who you are. There we go. Thank you so much for subscribing for 3 months. Gracias, papi, gracias. As we do see Clem going to be going for a drop here towards the natural, dragging the attention of MaxPax back home. Meanwhile, the main army does push towards the would-be 4th base of MaxPax. Can we deny the Nexus? Can we bring it down? We do see Clem distracting the main army once again, dropping here towards the 3rd base. And that means that this Nexus is going to be taking a lot of damage. Oh, that's going to be a kill, not a cancel. The base goes down. It was quite a big investment though out of Clem. At the same time, Zealot run by comes in towards the 3rd base. SCVs are also going down. Both players lose workers, that is true, but MaxPax lost the base. That's 400 minerals down the drain. And Clem, he maintains this position, pushing forward towards that natural. Do head towards that pylon. Pylon going to be going down. We can actually camp the production. K-Wave's under fire. Behind this, Zealot still wreaking a lot of havoc. 13 SCVs. MaxPax achieving a lot here with those Zealots. Is getting ready for a surround. He's getting ready to collapse on this position. The tanks are exposed. Good blink there from MaxPax. 1 tank, 2 tanks go down. And we clean up the Marines. We clean up the Marauders. We should clean them up. Oh! The medevac. The medevac does barely escape. A good cleanup out of MaxPax, but remember, he still lost his base. Clem is still ahead in the economy, where even on workers, even on bases, but we have mules. So Clem is at a lead. But army-wise, MaxPax has a bit of momentum. He just cleaned up the tanks, reset them essentially. Building up his Colossus count. So you can see him just consolidating his forces, getting ready for a move out. Can he break this position? Again, no tanks on the high ground, but there are some Widow Mines. Speaking of, we do have a mine drop moving out. Mine drop towards the main. Blink gonna avoid the damage. So far so good here out of MaxPax. Building himself up. Dark Shrine is done. We have Blink on the way for those DTs. Second rover for double Colossus production. MaxPax, he's taking up quite a lot while he takes his 4th base. Meanwhile, Medevac drop once again moves out, but is spotted by the Observer. Observer is in position. Speaking of, Clem looking for an Observer across the map. My drop comes in. MaxPax a bit out of position. He's expecting a drop in towards the main base. Mine shot's going to be going off, and it looks like we will not get damage done. Only 2 probes. Oof. Gets a 3rd and a Stalker. Not too bad. But we should clean this up. These Widow Mines should not reset, as a cannon is about to complete. And MaxPax, he's holding his own. Getting into his 3rd Colossus. Meanwhile, Clem, building up a Marauder-based army, has a lot of ghosts as well. I still want to give the edge to Clem just because of his economy and because of how efficient his army can be. But everything can quickly change. Like, the reality is that this fight can be made or broken based on the disruptors. As 2 disruptors are on the way, but at the same time we do engage. Big swipe's going to be going off. While a lot of Marauders go down. Not a bad fight for MaxPax. He does retreat, and again, he's going to be reinforcing with Purification Novas as disruptors are joining the main army. They are joining the army. Behind this, Clem getting into his own 4th base, working towards +1 ship weapons, should be getting to Viking production, into a 2nd starport, into eventually Liberators as well. I would say, though, that this starport transition feels later than normal for Clem. So MaxPax is still very much so in this. In fact, I kind of want to say that he has a lot more potential with his army. I always want to say potential, though, just because we're referring to disruptors. Like, they can kill everything or they can kill nothing. Like, there's there's very little in between. We'll see what we got. As Nova does go off so far. Good split out of Clem. Ooh, it does take a couple of Novas to the face as we dive on the army. Yeah, Zelse come in to reinforce, and there's just too much Protoss on the ground. MaxPax breaks on through. The Novas, they were good enough. Colossi are going down. We have a lot of Vikings, but what else can the Vikings do? This time there is no Sky Toss. Not like against Australia. The Vikings, they do nothing. The dead supply here as MaxPax forces his way up the ramp. Nova goes off, zoning away the army. And the Zelse getting into the mineral line. SCVs are going down. The Vikings are forced to land. Good splits. Good splits out of Clem, but we have so many reinforcements coming in, and MaxPax is snowballing out of control. Oh, as I say that, the boys are being pulled. Boys are being pulled. Clem barely holding. Good target firing here on top of those disruptors. And again, Clem, he does hold on. MaxPax taking a 5th base behind this, though. The rich have seen gas guys, so you can see MaxPax, he's checking for the 5th base on the right hand side. Big EMP. The EMP there out of MaxPax. Nova's going to be going off, zoning back Clem. Meanwhile, +3 on the way. Still a really awkward engagement there out of Clem, but if he gets a good engage overall, if he gets some EMPs, he can still clean this up. As long as the Nova doesn't connect. Oh my god. Yeah, here we go. We have reinforcements. MaxPax still maxed out the medevacs. They're running out of energy. They're running out. And something that we never got into, no libs. No liberators. No freedom. Oh my god, a big connection here on the Marauders. And it looks like MaxPax, he should have enough. He should have enough at this point. I mean, his army is still battered and bruised. Clem trying to hold on here desperately with his macro. Trying to survive. Working towards 3-3. Working towards +2 ship weapons. Some of these Novas, they have been lackluster. They haven't quite hit home. But GG gets called. We are deprived the final fight as the writing was on the wall, and MaxPax will take game number 1. Whew. GG. GG, well played again. Just really good trades there out of MaxPax. Initially, I did praise Clem, and I stand by it when it came to Clem killing the 4th base. But he was also bleeding out a lot of units, and MaxPax was able to get into those disruptors at the end of the day. I think a big moment there, as we saw when it came to the big fight that occurred at the 3rd base, even though we had 2 Colossi, Clem invested a lot into those Vikings. He had a lot of Vikings available for that fight, and we saw that after he killed the Colossi, there wasn't really much else that they could do. We had disruptors on the ground. We had mainly a ground-based army. And again, maybe Clem did overcommit a little bit too much to that, and he was kind of left with a subpar army or a smaller army as a result. And MaxPax was able to gain a lot of momentum from that point onwards. GG, well played. So again, just a really good fight from MaxPax. Was able to retain that lead, of course, and lead into game number 2. Here we go. As game 2 is going to be taking place on a very oh my god, a crazy map. What were the vetoes? We almost never see this map. You know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about. Radisson Station. Let's go, pal. Let's go. Radisson Station was not vetoed, and I am excited to see how greedy our players are. I will always remember when it came to the last big TVP that we casted was Hearthstone versus Maru on this map in WTL, where Hearthstone rushed into Mass Carrier, into Skytoss, into Tempest. And do you know what Maru did? While Hearthstone rushed into Skytoss, Maru rushed into Mass BC. I think off of 2 bases, he already had like a second starport. Off of 3 bases, he went up to like 4 starports and then 5. Mass BC production. And Maru went to town on Hearthstone. It was crazy. It was a great series. I recommend it. I think it was back in December. Like early December. That was the last that's like one of the standout TVPs that I remember from Radisson Station. But now we're getting into game number 2 of this series and spawning in the top right hand corner. Top right hand corner of Radisson Station, we have our Danish Protoss player representing Storm Gaming, leading the series 1-0. It is MaxPax. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the blue Terran, the French Terran player, our reigning ESL Masters Winter Champion representing Team Liquid. It is Clem. Here we go. Again, Radisson Station, the most vetoed map in the map pool. We rarely get to cast on this map, so I love that these two actually made it available. They didn't veto, they allowed this to happen. And this is going to be a very odd game. This should not be standard. So what is terrifying about Radisson Station is a couple of different things. One, it is considered to be a Protoss friendly map, a Protoss favored map in this matchup. The reason for that, a couple of things. One, very secure bases. It is so difficult to punish and to threaten the natural base, the pocket base of the Protoss, and even the natural as well, as we're going to be forcing the CC a little bit off center. But the reason why there's no Reaper Cliff. There's no Reaper Cliff leading into the natural or into the pocket base. To enter the main, you have to actually go through this Reaper Cliff here. No, wait, even then, I don't think you can, no, it's blocked off, yeah. You have to go through the other side instead. And the other scary thing here is that you can fully wall off. As a Protoss player, you can fully wall off here at the natural, and you can knock down these rocks later to expand and take a fourth. So it's like, it's basically a door, a Protoss door for the mid game. We can just fully wall off and turtle up and go into Skytoss. And it's so difficult to scout your opponent. There's a reason why Clem just skipped the Reaper. There's no reason to make a Reaper here. Like, we just skip it, go for Marine instead, going for a Rax expand into a factory follow-up, into a what looks to be a 1-1-1. Meanwhile, we do have MaxPax setting up a proxy. Curious here, very curious. Oh my god, as we are going for a third CC before Starport. And this is the kind of stuff that you cannot get away with on other maps, and you can get away with on Radisson Station. I said before, the game on Radisson Station is not StarCraft. It's a game of greed. It's just be as greedy as possible, cut as many corners as possible. This is a very fast third. You don't see this very often here in TVP, and MaxPax is going to try and punish the greed of Clem. You either see hyper greed on Radisson Station, or you can see a lot of cheese. The goal is for the Protoss, the aggressing player, to hope that the opposing player, the defending player, is too greedy and they get caught with their pants down. That's the hope, at least. Here we go. 3 gateways are done. We're warping in 3 stalkers at a time. We come across the Cyclone. Oh, and it's so low as well. A couple more volleys and it will go down. Oh, uno más. Adept does commit to the shade. Cyclone gets locked down and it will fall here to the stalkers. Reaper goes down, Marines as well, and what is it to defend? A couple of Cyclones will barely come out just in time. With these Cyclones, we should be able to force this back. Oof. As we're holding, but we warp in another wave of Stalkers, and Clem is in a lot of trouble. He's in so much trouble right now. One Cyclone survives. The boys, they have to be pulled. But we dive on top of the Cyclone. Cyclone goes down. There's nothing left. Nothing left here, and this game may end before it really begins. As we mentioned, Clem was so greedy this game. He rushed into a third CC. GG gets called. MaxPax punishes the greed and takes a 2-0 lead. GG, well played. Again, as we mentioned, Radisson Station is typically all about a game of greed. It's cut as many corners as possible, be as greedy as possible leading into the mid game. On the flip side, because that's how games are played, you can kind of like metagame your opponent. That's what this was. MaxPax, he metagamed Clem. MaxPax didn't know how greedy Clem was being. He was already going for the proxy gateway, assuming that Clem would rush into a fast third, assuming that Clem would not have a bunker and would have very limited units to defend. And in a way, it was kind of a build order win. It was a build order win there from MaxPax. Clem just didn't have the numbers to defend because he had invested so heavily into that third CC. And he did just get taken advantage of as a result. GG, well played. So this is typically how games of Radisson Station goes. Either both players are hyper greedy, or we see all-ins. And they can work. At times they can work. As we do see MaxPax with a 2-0 lead, and now we're getting into game number 3. Again, MaxPax needs one more game to run away with this. Clem needs to fight back here and now to extend the series and force a game 4. And hopefully an ace match. Again, I'm rooting for an ace match, but the pressure is on Clem. This map is evil. It is. 100%. It is an evil map, which is why I was pleasantly surprised that our players didn't veto it. It's great to see it every now and then. You know, like once every couple of weeks. As we're now getting into game number 3 and spawning in the top left-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have our Danish Protoss player, the Red Protoss representing Psystorm Gaming. One game away from becoming this week's ESL Open Cupn Americas champion. It is MaxPax. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the French Terran, our reigning ESL Masters Winter Champion. I would say with some of, if not the best TVP in the world, but is struggling here in this series. He needs your help. He needs your support. Representing Team Liquid, it is Clem. Now, that last game was unfortunate because, again, game 2 did feel like a build order win. Clem didn't scout his opponent, didn't realize how aggressive he was being, just blindly went into a third CC, was punished for it, and we didn't really get to see a back and forth. There was no opportunity for a back and forth in game number 2. It just ended before it could really begin. So, Clem, we can't make any more mistakes. We cannot take any more risks here. Not anymore. Not against MaxPax. So we'll see. We'll see how we do open up here. How we do approach this TVP. Probe Scout going to be coming in. Going to be dipping in across the map. Clem, interesting. For the first time this series, going for a double gas opener. Okay, you have my attention. You do have my attention here. So every game so far, we've seen Rax expands. We've seen single gas openers out of Clem. For the first time, double gas. What does this mean? This means faster factory. This means a more aggressive build overall. This could technically lead into a one base all in, but I don't really think that's in the repertoire of Clem. I feel like we should be expanding momentarily behind this. And we should be. Meanwhile, Reaper going to be moving out for a scout. There's that CC on the high ground, a very delayed CC. As a result, this needs to get damage done. This looks like a Reaper Hellion opener. I'm curious if we invest into Cyclones or not. Behind this, we have our tech of choice. Twilight Council on the way here for Max. Reaper is denied, as Reaper is going to be pushed away. Is going to be zoned away by those Adepts. Oh, and interesting. Okay, we're going into Reactor Marine. So the Marine count is going to get quite high early on. And we're going for a Widowmine drop here instead. Actually, we could go for Widowmine and Marine drop. This is a build that Maru's quite fond of. Basically, use the Widowmines to zone away your opponent and use the Marines to focus on probes. And this could do a surprising amount of damage. Assuming we go for it. Adept is going to be forced away. Widowmines are amassing. We're amassing Marines alongside them. And we are getting ready for that eventual drop. Meanwhile, back at home, how many gateways? We have 2 gateways in the main. We have 1 gateway here at the natural. It is 3-gate blink from Max, a very aggressive build here. Now, with 3-gate blink, we can contain our opponent. We're going to be as that is not 3 gateways. That is a 4th gateway. It is the Max special. What Max is known for, 4-gate blink Stalker, a very aggressive build. This is going to be scary. This is going to be a scary moment. Now, thankfully, how many Widowmines? 2. We made 2 Widowmines, and we're going straight into tank production. Very fast tank production here out of Clem. We need tanks to defend. Without them, the 4-gate blink will get out of hand. So tank production has commenced. Widowmine drop moving out across the map. Clem, he has a job to do. He has to count gateways. The Stalkers are in position. Stalkers are in position here, and the medevac is going to be going down. Mine shots, they do go off here, taking down 1, 2 probes. 2 worker kills at the same time. Adept shades in, and we do get a full scout of the main base. We get eyes on the 3-1-1 setup on the delayed, or I'd say 3-1, sorry, 2-on-1 setup on the prioritized tank production. But here come those Stalkers. Now, I'm really curious. Looking at the vision, Clem, he saw 2 gateways at the natural, and he saw 1 gateway in the main. So he's aware of at least 3 gates, which is why he's focusing on tank production. He has a bunker on the low ground, but it just now started. And here comes Max warping in an extra wave of reinforcements. 4 Stalkers at a time. We get eyes on the bunker. And the bunker, it is going to be denied. It's going to be a cancel on the bunker. We get behind the mineral line as well. The tank just out of range. Tank is barely out of range. Has to be repositioned. SCVs are going down. Really good trade so far here by Max. Very nice harass. Big tank shot's going to be going off at the same time, though. Looks like auto shot harass here in the mineral line. But that Stalker count is getting disturbingly high. We dive on top of the tank. We one-shot. The tank goes down. And now suddenly, this natural base is in a lot of trouble. It's under fire. The base is getting lower and lower. SCVs are falling as well. We cannot repair. And we dive on top of another tank. And GG gets called. The tank count is just stifled far too much. It cannot get up and running. And Max, he takes a 3-0. GG, well played. Max coming out swinging hard with 4-gate blink Stalkers. Unfortunately, Clem did make a second Widowmine, which means for as long as you're making Widowmines, that is how much more time you're not making tanks. He did have 1 tank in time, his first tank in time for the first push. Unfortunately, he wasn't quite in position, and I shouldn't put too much emphasis on his tank production because, I mean, he was able to get into two tanks relatively well, but the bunker, right? The bunker timing was so delayed. The bunker was not ready in the natural. There was no bunker in the main base either. So as soon as Max got across the map, as soon as he saw that bunker wasn't done, he went for it. We saw him immediately just blink across, focus down the bunker, make sure it didn't get up and running. As soon as the bunker fell, the natural was compromised. The natural was just so very compromised. There was nothing that Clem could do about it. He was trying to come down to the low ground. He was trying to reposition his tanks, but it was a bit of a lost cause. And losing control of your natural, that's game right then and there. Not just that, but Max was again so keen on diving on those tanks. As soon as Clem would unsiege Max, he would just dive on top of Clem and focus him down. And yeah, just the killer instinct was impressive. very impressive stuff there by MaxPax to just be so on top of Clem throughout that. Not just in this game, but throughout the entire series. Throughout the entire series, MaxPax was very proactive and, yeah, was able to shut Clem down. GG, well played. MaxPax, he gets his revenge in a pretty strong fashion. I still would favor Clem if they rematched. I still would favor Clem, but really cool to see MaxPax 3-0 and look damn good in doing so. Radisson Station was a unique one, to be fair, but regardless, really good showing here at a MaxPax. Now, it is a shame. It is a shame that MaxPax won't be there at IEM. I would love to see him competing in IEM Katowice. Unfortunately, won't be a part of it. Clem will, though. And Clem, he's going to be able to ruminate over this series and go over it, and he still has a week. Still has a week to improve, still has a week to reflect. Not just when it comes to this matchup, but every matchup. And I imagine preparing for players specifically as well. And again, at least Clem doesn't have to worry about MaxPax at IEM. Here we go. MaxPax, the Protoss Hope, the last one. I mean, MaxPax, like, he's the best Protoss in Europe, definitely. I would think I would go as far as to say I do think that Hero is currently rated higher than MaxPax, purely off of Master Coliseum, like purely based on that. Like, I do think Hero did cement himself as #1. But what I will say is that when it comes to MaxPax and Hero, is that their state of play and their form changes over the year. And even if Hero is looking better now, given a couple of months, maybe MaxPax overtakes him and they go back and forth. That's the thing about StarCraft, is something to bear in mind, is that everyone's improving. Everyone is always improving constantly, just at different rates of improvement, and some players may find some success where others might not, especially like in certain patches or different map pools and with different play styles. Regardless, really good showing here by MaxPax, redeeming himself from Master Coliseum, of course, and with that, we're now going to be wrapping up. We're done for the night. GG, well played. Congratulations to MaxPax for becoming this week's ESL Open Cup Americas champion. And it wasn't an easy road. Remember, he took down Solar, Dark, and now Clem as well. Wait, did MaxPax? Did he? Exclamation mark B. We can have a look at the bracket together, actually. MaxPax did not drop a map. Bappy. Oh my god. I was curious. I was very curious. Exclamation mark B. Hold on, I can switch our scenes over. We can have a look together. We can go over this together. One moment. One momento here. Bam. There we go. Oh, that's not correct. Interacts. Can I scroll down? Can I? There we go. Let's just scroll down a little bit. But yeah, MaxPax, he 3-0'd Clem, he 2-0'd Dark, he 2-0'd Solar, he took down Nicaract, and he took down, who else? Mechanics at the very beginning of the night. So a really impressive run here. MaxPax not dropping a single map throughout the entire tournament. Even Clem bled a little bit. You can see here, Creator, he took a game off of Clem here in the quarterfinals. So yeah, really impressive run here by MaxPax overall. Clearly looking to redeem himself and looking strong this week. Looking very strong. Do love to see it. So yeah, just a really good performance there out of MaxPax. And I look forward to seeing more of him next week, as next week there's going to be another ESL Open Cup as well. So hope you all enjoyed yourselves. Hope you all had a great time. As a reminder, we are going to be adjusting our schedule a little bit. So for those who are unaware, I'm currently in Poland at the moment. I'm in Poland for IEM Katowice, not in Australia. So we may be adjusting some of our casting. I was looking at it, and especially because in Australia, you know, I lived in a more secluded area. Here, as you can imagine, as I'm staying in a different place here in Poland, there are neighbors to consider. And I don't know if I can cast at 4 a.m. Like, I can, but I don't, you know, especially when you're in an apartment complex, you know, I don't want to be a nuisance to the neighbors. That's the big, and I can get very loud. So casting at 4 a.m. probably not the best idea. Because of that, we may do KSL via replays. We may adjust and we may cast KSL from replays instead. Likewise, we should be fine to live stream ESL Asia. I think ESL Asia is at a perfectly fine time for us to cast live. ESL Americas is at 2 a.m. So we may adjust and we may do replay casts for KSL and ESL Americas next week. And when it comes to ESL Europe, I can cast that. I should be able to cast that live without any issues. So we should be adding ESL Europe, and we should be adjusting Americas and adjusting KSL to replay casts. At least that's the current plan. That's what we're going to be doing. But yeah, outside of that though, hope you all enjoyed yourselves. Hope you all had a great time. Look forward to seeing more of you tomorrow, because we're going to be live tomorrow at this time in 24 hours with something a little bit different. Hold on. Oh, good. As we are just wrapping up here. But yes, we're going to be going over the Home Story Cup replays. Home Story Cup replay is going to be tomorrow here in 24 hours. So look forward to it. Do look forward to it. Until then, thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for the support. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Hasta luego.